Chapter 1960. Yes, Grandpa, as long as you say so, Han Xiaopa said. As long as we can offer enough benefits, then we don't have to be afraid that he won't come. After lunch, Linny looked at the stranger in front of him and frowned slightly. Linny was very sure that he didn't know the person in front of him, but the person in front of him was blocking his way, which made Linny a little unhappy. What do you want? Linny asked calmly. Excuse me. Are you Mr. Linny? Although the person had blocked Linny's way, his tone was very polite. Yes, what do you want? Linny looked at the person in front of him again, but he still didn't know him. This humble one is Han Xiaopa of the Hidden Han family. Greetings, Senior Lin! Han Xiaopa used the honorific of the martial arts world and cupped his fists. Hidden Han family? This was the first time Linny had heard of this hidden family, but Linny still stopped in his tracks. Since this person was from a hidden family, then he might as well see what he wanted. It's just a small family, it's normal that Senior Lin hasn't heard of it. Han Xiaopa smiled bitterly, thinking that the hidden Han family really didn't have much of a reputation. Linny probably hadn't heard of it before. Book C Pavilion Net. Oh, tell me why you're here. Linny didn't care whether the person was from a small family or a large family, and asked directly. Senior Lin, I won't beat around the bush. I have something that I need your help with, Han Xiaopa said. Not interested, no time. Linny hadn't even heard of the hidden Han family, so he naturally wasn't in the mood to deal with someone asking for his help. Senior Lin, please wait. Our Han family once obtained an ancient ruin with many treasures. If Senior Lin can help us, you can choose any treasure you like as a reward. Han Xiaopa knew that he couldn't play mind games with people like Lin Yi. He had to say whatever was on his mind to gain Lin Yi's favor. If he beat around the bush, perhaps Lin Yi wouldn't have the patience to waste time with him. Ancient ruins? Lin Yi stopped in his tracks and turned to look at Han Xiaopa, deep in thought. Lin Yi naturally knew what an ancient relic was. Legend had it that the ancient sects and ancient families had become the overlords of the martial arts world because they had found an ancient relic. The fact that the hidden Han family had also found an ancient relic surprised Lin Yi. Found an ancient relic, and a small clan at that? Unheard of even in the hidden aristocratic families? However, although Lin Yi didn't know the reason behind it, Han Xiaopa's conditions had indeed tempted Lin Yi. Among the materials in the ancient ruins, there might be pure topaz, colored steel, or blue crystal powder. Book C Pavilion Net. That's right. Han Xiaopa nodded and said, I wonder if Senior Lin has the time to sit down and discuss in detail. All right, let's go to the cafeteria. I haven't had lunch yet, Lin Yi said. Senior Lin, this humble one has already booked a table at the Shueshang Business Hotel nearby. I hope Senior Lin can do me the honor. Han Xiaopa heard Lin Yi's agreement and immediately invited him with a smile. Oh, then let's go. Lin Yi nodded. Under the biology building, a Ferrari sports car was parked. Han Xiaopa respectfully invited Lin Yi into the car and drove to the Shueshang Business Hotel. The Shueshang Business Hotel was actually the Shueshang Hotel, it was just called by a different name. Arriving here, Lin Yi thought of Sun Jingyi, so he said to Han Xiaopa, Wait, I'll call a friend to eat with us. All right, no problem. Han Xiaopa naturally wouldn't have the slightest doubt. The more casual Lin Yi behaved, the more likely it was to succeed. Lin Yi called Sun Jingyi. It just so happened that Sun Jingyi was also going to eat, so Lin Yi let Sun Jingyi go directly to the private room that Han Xiaopa had booked. Lin Yi, why did you think of eating here at noon? Sun Jingyi was a little surprised by Lin Yi's sudden visit, but when she saw that there was an outsider beside Lin Yi, she was a little puzzled. This must be Senior Lin's girlfriend. Hello, Senior. My name is Han Xiaopa. I'm from the Hidden Han family. Han Xiaopa said respectfully to Sun Jingyi. Ah? Hidden Han family? Lin Yi didn't know about the Hidden Han family, but as a member of an aristocratic family, Sun Jingyi was very clear about it. She also knew about the history of the Han family's rise to power. Even if the hidden Han family was a relatively weak existence among the hidden aristocratic families, it was still a behemoth compared to the Sun family. But what Sun Jingyi didn't expect was that the hidden Han family's disciple would call her senior. Could this be considered riding on Lin Yi's coattails? Yes, I am the eldest son and eldest grandson of the hidden Han family. I represent the hidden Han family, and I have some matters that I need Senior Lin's help with. Han Xiaopa explained respectfully. All right, serve the dishes first. I'm hungry. Let's talk while we eat. Lin Yi waved his hand impatiently and interrupted Han Xiaopa. Yes, Senior Lin. I'll ask the waiter to serve the dishes now, Han Xiaopa said as he turned around and left the private room, instructing the waiter to serve the dishes. At this time, Sun Jingyi was very surprised. She lowered her voice and said to Lin Yi, Why did he call you senior? Why did he need your help? Who knows? Let's hear it later, Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Soon, Han Xiaopa returned and sat respectfully at the seat below. He poured tea for Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. All right, before the dishes are served, tell me what you need, Lin Yi said. It's like this, Senior Lin. Han Xiaopa quickly told Lin Yi about the Hidden House Summit, the competition, and how he saw Lin Yi's flying car on the highway. Hidden House Summit? This was Lin Yi's first time hearing about this. But thinking about it, if the aristocratic families had their own house summit, then it wasn't surprising that the hidden families had their own hidden house summit. From the sound of it, this was a conference to test the hidden family's abilities. In other words, if I win the car race for you, all the prizes will belong to me. Plus, I can choose any treasure from your hidden Han family's treasure vault? Don't you think you're losing out? Yes. Han Xiaopa nodded. Of course, I hope this isn't just a trade, but the beginning of a friendship. I sincerely hope that our hidden Han family can become Senior Lin's friend. So, it doesn't matter if we're losing out or not. If Han Xiaopa wanted to negotiate, he could have said that he would give the prizes to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi didn't agree, he could have increased the stakes. But Han Xiaopa wanted to gain Lin Yi's friendship. After he found out that the person driving the jeep was Lin Yi, he had this idea. Pure topaz, blue crystal, chromatic steel. What does your hidden Han family have? Lin Yi asked. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1961. Pure topaz? Blue crystal? Colored steel? Han Xiaopa repeated Lin Yi's words and frowned. After a while, he said uncertainly, I think we do have colored steel. It's a material used to forge weapons. Our Han family found some in the ancient ruins. I think it's called colored steel, but I'm not sure. Senior Lin, is it that colorful steel? That's right. Your hidden Han family has something like that? Lin Yi's eyes brightened. He did not think that the most difficult material to find would be found in the hands of the hidden Han family. If it's something like that, then we have one in our treasure vault. However, the blacksmith who forged the weapon has long since disappeared, and the method of forging has also been lost. We don't have much use for this thing, Han Xiaopa said. If that's what you want, then I can give it to you right now. Whether or not you agree to help our hidden Han family in the tournament, I'll give it to you as a meeting gift. All right, I agree. Lin Yi nodded. You're not bad. I know what you're thinking, but it's a bit difficult for me to protect your Han family. My strength is limited. If the other hidden houses join forces to cause trouble for you, there's nothing I can do. Don't worry about that, Senior Lin. Hidden families have their own rules. Even if they want to deal with us, the hidden house of Han, they'll have to use this sort of competition to get our treasures. They wouldn't dare to openly rob us, Han Xiaopa said. So as long as Senior Lin represents our Han family, at least in the short term, these people won't have any designs on us. What we need is some breathing room, that's not a problem. Also, I might participate in the other competitions you mentioned. Do I get to keep the rewards? Lin Yi asked. Book C Pavilion Net. Of course. Han Xiaopa was overjoyed. If Lin Yi could win a few more rounds, it would be a great opportunity to show off the hidden Han family's power. It would also show the other hidden families how powerful Lin Yi was. Okay, then you can go. This is my phone number. Call me when the time is confirmed. Lin Yi said and gave Han Xiaopa his phone number. Alright, Senior Lin, I'll send you the colored steel tomorrow, Han Xiaopa said after writing down Lin Yi's phone number. Don't worry, but help me find out more about pure topaz and blue crystal, Lin Yi said. I will remember it, Senior Lin, Han Xiaopa said. The dishes were served, and Han Xiaopa was done with his business. He got up and left without eating. He was a smart man and went to pay the bill. He didn't want to disturb Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi's meal. He had achieved his goal. It didn't matter if he ate or not, as long as Lin Yi ate happily. Han Xiaopa and Lin Yi reached an agreement and built a good relationship. He returned to the hidden Han family to report. Sun Jingyi was the only one left in the room. She looked at Lin Yi in surprise. These hidden houses are so afraid of you now? I burned 3 of them to death last time. Maybe they have a phobia now. Lin Yi shrugged. He was thinking about other things in his mind. His current strength was only at the early phase of Earth class, and he needed to raise it to the next level as soon as possible. Although the Frenzy Fist was powerful, Lin Yi had only trained the first 3 styles. At most, he could fight a mid-phase Earth class master to a draw. If he met someone stronger, then he wouldn't be able to do it. So Lin Yi was eager to raise his strength to the next level. It would be best if he could train the 4th to 6th style of the Frenzy Fist. After seeing the power of the Frenzy Fist, Lin Yi was confident that he could fight a late-phase Earth class master after training the 4th to 6th style. Of course, this was just a confidence. Before Lin Yi started training, everything was just a guess. He would only know after training. So that's how it is. Sun Jingyi nodded. Oh right, I did a comparison last night. That map seems to be the Wulonghout Mountains. But it was too late last night, so I didn't find the detailed map. I just woke up not long ago. I'm going to go online and look for a more detailed map later. Oh? You found it already? Lin Yi was a little surprised. Although Sun Jingyi made it sound easy, she must have been busy last night. It was just that Lin Yi was surprised that Sun Jingyi found the location on the map so quickly. Maybe it's my parents' secret. Of course I'm anxious. Sun Jingyi smiled embarrassedly. I understand. Let me know when you want to leave. I'll go with you. Lin Yi said. Thank you. Sun Jingyi said gratefully. But you may have to wait. At least, you have to wait until the hidden Han family's matter is over. Lin Yi thought about it and said, It doesn't matter. You can go whenever you want. Moreover, it's not necessarily the Wulonghout Mountains. I just think the terrain is similar. Sun Jingyi said, Maybe I need to confirm it for a while. After lunch, Sun Jingyi returned to her room, and Lin Yi was ready to go back to school. After leaving the hotel, Lin Yi was about to stop a taxi, but he saw a middle-aged man walking quickly toward Lin Yi. Senior Lin, young master Pa asked me to wait here and send you back to school. The middle-aged man explained before Lin Yi could ask. Then let's go. Lin Yi nodded. He didn't expect Han Xiaopa to be so considerate. After he left, he still sent someone to pick him up to school. The middle-aged man drove an Audi A8. After respectfully asking Lin Yi to get in the car, he didn't say much. He directly sent Lin Yi back to school and left. Lin Yi returned to the dormitory, but he saw Bai Weituo still sitting at the desk with a sad face. Old Bai, what's wrong with you? Lin Yi looked at Bai Weituo strangely. Wasn't the matter solved? Why didn't this guy lead the class to rehearse? Instead, he was sighing in the dormitory. Big brother Lin, you're back? Bai Weituo saw Lin Yi, and his face suddenly showed some joy. Big brother Lin, I told the class about the big star Su Shihan. Everyone was very excited after hearing it, but Right Coiling Tiger jumped out to cause trouble. He said that Su Shihan had never held a concert in Donghai before, and that it was unheard of for her to participate in this kind of small event. So he said that I wanted to boost the class's morale, and that's why I made this up to compete with Zhang Duopan. And then? Lin Yi frowned, thinking that this coiling tiger on the right didn't know how to stop, always going against them. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1962. Book C Pavilion, Chapter 1974. She really was a superstar. After that, the students in the class got discouraged. They felt that no matter how much they practiced, they wouldn't be able to fight against that coffee girl Chingy that John Duopan invited, so they were too lazy to practice and came back with the attitude of just making up the numbers. Bai Weituo said bitterly. Lin Yi was speechless, so they didn't believe him. But it wasn't strange that they doubted him. If Lin Yi didn't call Su Shihan in front of Bai Weituo wouldn't believe that he could invite Su Shihan. Su Shihan used to have headaches, so she rarely held concerts, let alone private events. Therefore, a lot of people probably didn't believe it at first, but after Right Coiling Tiger said this, no one believed it anymore. This Pan Hu Right really needs to be beaten up. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Yi wasn't weak, he would have beaten Pan Hu Right up a long time ago. But after offending House Yu, House Zhao, and an unknown master from House Kong, Lin Yi didn't want to mess with the hidden House Yu, especially since they were a medical family. Their power couldn't be underestimated. It's not his fault, he just raised a question. We're the class monitor, we can't let our classmates doubt us, right? Bai Weituo smiled bitterly. Even if Su Shihan comes tomorrow, the party starts the day after tomorrow, and we only have half a day left to rehearse. It's not enough. I'll make another call. Lin Yi wanted to rush Su Shihan to see if she could come today. Bai Weituo heard Lin Yi's words and was extremely grateful. He didn't think that Lin Yi would help him this much. Lin Yi called Su Shihan again, but this time, it was Su Shihan who picked up. Lin Yi, why are you calling me again? It's like this. Lin Yi told Su Shihan about Bai Weituo's troubles and said, Can you come earlier? It's best if you come tonight. I'm afraid I can't. Today's schedule is already full. Even tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I had to squeeze out time for you. Do you think I'm free every day? Su Shihan was annoyed by Lin Yi's words. Did this guy think that she was just waiting for him to summon her every day? What's the saying? Time is like, pretend I didn't say anything. Lin Yi wanted to make a joke, but then he remembered that he wasn't that close with Su Shihan, so it was best not to make this kind of joke. Pervert! Su Shihan heard Lin Yi's words and snorted. You misunderstood. What I meant was that time is like a sponge that is wet with water. If you squeeze it, water will always come out. Lin Yi said. How do you know I misunderstood? If you didn't get it wrong, how would you know I got it wrong? Su Shihan retorted. Lin Yi realized that Su Shihan was indeed a superstar. Her reflexes were extraordinarily fast. No wonder she could remain so calm in the face of so many media interviews. Okay, can you come? Lin Yi asked. This matter is actually very easy to solve. Do you have a computer over there? We can video chat, and then you can call your classmates over. I'll talk to them personally, Su Shihan said. That's a good idea. Computer. Lin Yi's gaze landed on Bai Weituo's desk. This brat brought a laptop, so he said. I do. Then do you have my QQ number? Add me, and then I'll send you a video chat request. Su Shihan said. My number is 1212. Okay. Lin Yi wrote down Su Shihan's QQ number and hung up. He said to Bai Weituo, Go call our classmates over. Then Su Shihan will video chat with them. That's great. Bai Weituo was overjoyed. He ran out of the dorm to call his classmates. Lin Yi opened Bai Weituo's laptop and logged into his QQ number. Lin Yi rarely used his QQ. He applied for it after he came to Songhan. There were only a few people added on it. Kong, Miss, Little Shu, and so on. But Lin Yi didn't really use it, so he was still level 2. Lin Yi added Su Shihan's number. After a while, the verification went through. Lin Yi had a new friend on QQ. It was called Beauty Han. This name made Lin Yi speechless. Wasn't she a bit too narcissistic? Lin Yi? Su Shihan sent a message. She wasn't sure about Lin Yi's identity. Lin Yi's nickname was 01. He had more personality than Su Shirhan. "And it's me, narcissist," Lenny replied. "Narcissist? You're a narcissist?" Su Shirhan was confused by Lin Yi's reply. "You are," Lenny said. "Look at your QQ name." "What narcissism? I'm a beauty," Su Shirhan said matter-of-factly. "Only blind people don't know how to appreciate beauty." Lenny smiled bitterly. It seemed like Su Shirhan hated him a lot. Hearing footsteps coming from outside the dorm, Lenny quickly replied, "Okay, she's here." After that, he quickly closed the chat window. Book Ocean Pavilion. He opened it again. The chat history was gone. Lenny didn't want others to know about his relationship with Su Shirhan. "Okay, I'll request a video call." Su Shirhan replied and sent a video call request. Song Xiaodao and Zhao Xingji were in the other dorms. They saw Bai Weituo's worried face, so they went to the other dorms to pull some strings. Actually, it wasn't that the students in the class didn't want to help, but they didn't have the confidence. Who didn't want their major and their class to shock the world at the school's freshman party? This was a good chance to be famous. These 20 guys were all single. When the class became famous, it would be easier to find a girlfriend. It was just that Zhang Duopan invited a celebrity. So no matter how hard they tried, they weren't on the same level as him. Instead of working hard for half a day and still getting bullied, they might as well just deal with it. But when they heard that Su Shirhan was going to video call them, they got excited. Could it be that what Bai Weituo said before was true? He could really invite Su Shirhan? And so, these guys immediately swarmed to room 444, and at this time, Lin Yi accepted Su Shirhan's video call request. On the computer screen, Su Shirhan, who was wearing casual clothes and no makeup, appeared. "Su Shirhan, it's really Su Shirhan." The first guy who rushed into the dorm saw Su Shirhan on the computer screen and screamed, "Class leader didn't lie to us. This is the first time I've seen Su Shirhan without makeup. She's so beautiful and pure." Book C Pavilion, target =_. Chapter 1963. Su Shirhan, hello, I'm your loyal fan, I'm Jia Changqing. The boys couldn't wait to greet Su Shirhan. "Hello everyone, I'm Su Shirhan." Su Shirhan saw that everyone was here, so she smiled and said, "I'm in the recording studio right now. Today, I'm mixing for my new album, so I took a break from my busy schedule to meet everyone. This isn't a pre-recorded interview, right?" Panhu Yu couldn't understand why Bai Weituo was able to invite Su Shirhan. Back then, he invited Su Shirhan with the identity of the Yu family. Not only did he fail, but he also got rejected. This made Yu Panhu very upset. Lin Yi didn't let Bai Weituo say that he was the one who invited Su Shirhan, so Bai Weituo could only vaguely say that he was the one who invited Su Shirhan. This was also the reason why no one believed him. He was just a freshman. How could he know a superstar like Su Shirhan? "Yeah, Bai Weituo, is this a pre-recorded interview?" Someone heard Coiling Tiger Yu's question and started to suspect. "Young Master Coiling Tiger Yu, hello, we meet again." Su Shirhan heard Coiling Tiger Yu's question and smiled faintly. Coiling Tiger Yu didn't expect Su Shirhan to know him, and even talk to him. He felt awkward. "Haha, I was just joking." In front of the class, Coiling Tiger Yu naturally didn't dare to say that he wanted to sleep with Su Shirhan. He laughed and changed the topic. But now, no one doubted that it was a video anymore, because the video didn't have any interaction, and it was impossible to talk to Coiling Tiger Yu. "Su Shirhan, I like you so much." "Su Shirhan, can I have your autograph?" "Su Shirhan, what are the songs in your new album? Can you tell us a bit?" "Su Shirhan, will you really come tomorrow? Will you bring us to the freshman party?" When everyone knew that the Su Shirhan in front of them was really Su Shirhan, they couldn't be more excited. One question after another, Su Shirhan couldn't answer. "Can everyone calm down for a moment? I understand everyone's feelings, but my time here is limited. It wasn't easy for me to ask my manager for a little leave just now to meet with everyone, so please listen to me, okay?" Su Shirhan's voice came again, making the noisy dorm quiet again. Everyone shut their mouths when they heard that Su Shirhan was taking time out of her busy schedule to meet them. As you all know, I was asked by my friend to attend the freshman party with you. However, due to my schedule, I won't be able to arrive in East Ocean City until tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. Therefore, our time is very limited, Su Shirhan said. And if we want to get first place in the freshman party, just my popularity alone isn't enough. We need everyone's cooperation. Otherwise, even if I go on stage, we won't be able to get a high score if we don't work well together, right? Everyone nodded in agreement after hearing Su Shirhan's words. So, I'm going to tell everyone the song I'm going to sing. Everyone practiced the harmony part first. When I go tomorrow, I just need to practice a few more times. Do you guys have the confidence to get first place with me? Su Shirhan asked. Yes. Most of the guys were Su Shirhan's fans. Even if they weren't, how could they reject such a beautiful girl's invitation? Thus, as soon as Su Shirhan's voice fell, everyone expressed their stance in unison. Okay, since you're confident, then you have to work hard. If we can't get first place, it'll be very embarrassing for me, Su Shirhan said with a smile. Don't worry, we'll definitely work hard. A guy took the lead. It was the guy called Jia Changqing. Us too. The rest of the guys saw that someone took the lead, so they naturally didn't want to be outdone. Okay, the song I prepared for everyone is called Story of Youth. It's also one of my most famous songs. There's a lot of harmony and narration, and the whole song is like a drama. I believe that the students who have seen the music video of this song know that it was filmed in a university. What we need to do is to restore the music video of this song to the stage, Su Shirhan said. Story of Youth was just like what Su Shirhan said. The music video was filmed in a university. It was also a drama, singing about the beautiful university life. There was love, friendship, and nervousness before exams. The theme of the song was the epitome of university life. It would be hard not to win an award if it was performed at the freshman party. With Su Shirhan as the original singer and the cooperation of the students, it would definitely cause an unprecedented sensation. What everyone needs to do next is to familiarize yourself with this song, then find a few stunt doubles for the supporting roles in the music video. As for the rest, we can start rehearsing tomorrow, Su Shirhan said. No problem. Don't worry, Su Shirhan. I'm the class monitor, Bai Weituo. I'll definitely complete the task. Bai Weituo was very excited. Su Shirhan was willing to help everyone. Although he knew that it was because of Lin Yi, the person she was helping was him. How could he not be excited? Moreover, Himeyue's idol was Su Shirhan. Zhang Duopan invited Su Shirhan's junior sister to come. It was also to please Himeyue. After all, other than Su Shirhan, Himeyue also liked Qingyi. However, with Su Shirhan here, Himeyue naturally liked Su Shirhan more. Okay, Bai Weituo. Everyone's rehearsal, I'll leave it to you, Su Shirhan said. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to start working here. Everyone, do your best. Okay, we'll do our best, Bai Weituo and the students present said in unison. Coiling Tiger Right and the other two were very gloomy. They saw that Bai Weituo was one of Lin Yi's people, so they wanted to create some trouble for him. But now, it seemed like trouble was no longer trouble. So, Coiling Tiger Right and the other two left Lin Yi's dorm. After the video ended, all the medical students were excited and requested to start rehearsing right away. Bai Weituo excitedly downloaded Su Shirhan's Story of Youth music video and played it for everyone to see. Then, he started to pick the supporting characters and cameos from the class. Lin Dage, which role are you going to play? Bai Weituo naturally let Lin Yi choose first. After all, Su Shirhan was invited by Lin Yi. It was reasonable to let him choose first. No one would object. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1964. Oh, I'll play this role. Book C Pavilion. Lin Yi pointed at a guy in the music video. This was a minor character from the start. He sat in front of the desk and didn't move at all. The girl beside him was also a minor character. Bai Weituo didn't understand why Lin Yi chose this character. There were a lot of minor characters, and Lin Yi only chose one of them. Other than that, there were a lot of supporting characters that followed Su Shihan. Ah? Lin bro, are you sure? Just a minor character? Bai Weituo was surprised. I'm not good at acting. This minor character is good enough, Lin Yi said. Lin Yi didn't have much interest in standing out at the freshman party. Lin Yi didn't flirt with girls, and he didn't do it to please anyone. He only played a minor character because this was a group activity, and it was organized by Bai Weituo. It wouldn't be good if he didn't act. Okay. Bai Weituo saw that Lin Yi insisted, so he didn't say anything else. Then, Sinyan's sis-in-law, she's the same as me, a minor character. Lin Yi knew that Sinyan didn't like being in the limelight, so he made the decision for her. Lin Yi basically had nothing to do for the rest of the rehearsal. After saying goodbye to Bai Weituo, Lin Yi left the dorm. When he went downstairs, a figure ran up quickly. If it wasn't for Lin Yi dodging in time, he would have bumped into Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't want to say anything to this kind of reckless person, but he didn't expect that this person was someone he knew. Lin Yi bro! Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi with surprise. Han Jingjing? Why are you in the boys' dorm? Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing strangely. Didn't the girls' dorm not allow boys to enter freely? Did the boys' dorm not have this rule? Didn't you say that you were going to rehearse? Did Bai Weituo call me? Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi even more strangely. Why aren't you rehearsing? I mean, how did you get into the male dormitory? Didn't the guard at the door stop you? Lin Yi asked. No, why did he stop me? He even smiled at me. Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi in confusion. Then you can go up to room 444. I'll be a cameo, so I don't need to rehearse, Lin Yi said. Why don't they rehearse? Han Jingjing asked. There's no why. Lin Yi simply didn't answer her. Otherwise, it would be endless. Then I'll play a minor role too, so there's no need to rehearse. Book C Pavilion. Han Jingjing nodded and said, Lin Yi Gidge, where are you going? I'm going home, Lin Yi said. Then I'm going home too. You can drive me back, Han Jingjing said. Let's go. Lin Yi didn't want to reject her. It would be a waste of time. Falbert was leaving in the afternoon. Although Pingzhan knew that he had found his long-lost wife, there were still a lot of things to do at the company. Falbert had to report back as soon as possible. If it was feasible, he could set up a branch here. That way, Falbert could meet Grandma's son often. Lin Yi Gidge, you and Wang Xinyan are a couple. Why are you living with Meng Yao and Yu Shu? Han Jingjing didn't stop talking after getting in the car. First, Wang Xinyan and I are not a couple. Second, it's called sharing, not living together, Lin Yi explained. Oh, then Lin Yi Gidge, you are single? Han Jingjing said happily. That's great. No, I have a girlfriend, Lin Yi said. Then why didn't I see her? Where is she? Han Jingjing asked. That has nothing to do with you, Lin Yi said. Then you and Xinyan sit together every day, and you live with Meng Yao and Yishu. Doesn't your girlfriend get jealous? Han Jingjing asked again. Not jealous? Why do you have so many questions? Lin Yi frowned. Many? Didn't teacher say that if you don't understand something, don't be ashamed to ask? Han Jingjing said innocently. Then ask someone else, Lin Yi said. Chapter 1965. It didn't matter if Grandma's son could regain her previous strength, Falbert didn't care too much about it. What Falbert cared about was when she could regain her memory. Since you've thought of it, let's try it now. Lin Yi nodded and said, Let's start now. What do you want me to do? Grandma's son asked quickly. You don't need to do anything, just use your mantra like you normally do, and absorb the chi of heaven and earth, Lin Yi said. Okay. Grandma's son nodded to show that she understood. Lin Yi, on the other hand, held Grandma's son's wrist pulse, and started the first level of the art of dragon mastery. However, The familiar feeling of qi flowing into Grandma Sun's body from his hand didn't happen. There seemed to be no exchange of qi between the two of them, which made Lin Yi very confused. Grandma Sun, you didn't use your Nigong mantra? Lin Yi asked curiously. I used it. Grandma Sun nodded and said, I've been using it, but I can't absorb any qi from your body. Something's wrong. Lin Yi frowned and continued to use the art of dragon mastery to convert his universal qi into the same qi as Falbert, but there was still no movement, as if the qi couldn't be absorbed by Grandma Sun at all. Book C Pavilion Net. According to Lin Yi's previous situation, Lin Yi didn't need to deliberately use the art of dragon mastery to convert qi into a specific kind of qi. As long as the recipient of the qi used his own Nigong mantra, the art of dragon mastery would automatically convert the qi into the qi that the recipient needed. But this situation was different now. Not only could Grandma Sun not convert Lin Yi's qi into the qi that she needed, she couldn't even absorb the qi that Lin Yi had converted. It still doesn't work. Grandma Sun shook her head and said, What's going on? I have already transformed my innate qi into the same innate qi as Falbert, but Grandma Sun still can't absorb it. Lin Yi said with a frown. That's a little strange. Falbert was originally full of expectations, but it also turned into a mind full of questions. This was the first time Lin Yi had encountered such a strange situation. In the past, this method of helping others level up had always been successful for Lin Yi, and he had never encountered a situation where it failed. Could it be that the Sun family's mental cultivation method is different from normal cultivation, and cannot be improved using your special method? Grandma Sun thought of a very important problem. After all, the Sun family's mental cultivation method is not for cultivation, it is a kind of supplementary mental cultivation method. Support mental cultivation method. I think I've figured something out. Let me think about it. Although Lin Yi said this, in his heart he wanted to find Xiao Yazi to verify whether his idea was correct. He pretended to close his eyes and think, but in his heart he asked, Jiao Lao, what's going on? Why is this happening? Isn't my innate qi the universal innate qi? Why doesn't it work on Grandma Sun? Falbert and Grandma Sun saw that Lin Yi was closing his eyes and thinking, so they didn't dare disturb him. They just sat quietly and waited. When Jiao Lao heard Lin Yi's question, he didn't have too many doubts. He just thought for a moment and said, If my deduction is correct, Grandma Sun's mental cultivation method should be to absorb the heaven and earth's spiritual qi, and transform it into a special form of energy from the Sun family's mental cultivation method. This form of energy can also be transformed into innate qi that Falbert can use through Grandma Sun's mental cultivation method, and then transferred to Falbert. But because of the special nature of her mental cultivation method, she can only absorb the heaven and earth's spiritual qi, and can't directly absorb your transformed innate qi. Oh? But why can other people directly transfer their transformed innate qi to her? If that's the case, then can I directly transform it into Grandma Sun's unique energy form? Lin Yi asked. I'm afraid that won't work either. The support type of mental cultivation method is not the same as the normal type of mental cultivation method. Her mental cultivation method should only be able to absorb the heaven and earth's spiritual qi, and it must be the most primitive heaven and earth spiritual qi that hasn't been transformed in any way. In other words, the pure energy in the jade pendant, as long as it has been transformed, it can't be absorbed anymore. Jiao Lao said, Just like you can transfer innate qi to other people, but other people can't transfer innate qi to you, me? I can, right? General Weiwu and Tianlei Pig's innate qi is exactly the same as the innate qi in my body. I can use it. Lin Yi said. I'm talking about other people. Did I talk about spirit beasts? Pay attention to people. Jiao Yazi said speechlessly. Is that so? Lin Yi suddenly felt a little awkward. So, other than letting Grandma Sun absorb the heaven and earth spiritual qi or pure energy, other than that, there's no other way to increase her strength? That should be it, of course. You can let me study Sun family's mental cultivation method, and I'll think about other ways. Jiao Lao said. Looks like it won't work for now. Lin Yi nodded. Jiao Lao's deduction was similar to Lin Yi's, but Lin Yi's analysis wasn't as thorough as Jiao Lao's. Jiao Lao explained the reason from the theory, but Lin Yi only roughly guessed the result. Lin Yi opened his eyes and said to Faubert, "If my deduction isn't wrong, Grandma Sun's mental cultivation method should be to absorb the heaven and earth's spiritual qi and transform it into a special form of energy from Sun family's mental cultivation method and store it in her body." Then, Lin Yi explained Jiao Lao's words to Grandma Sun and Faubert. This kind of learning and applying on the spot made Jiao Yazi look down on Jiao Yazi, but Jiao Yazi didn't say much. He almost never interfered with Lin Yi's daily life, and he was too lazy to interfere. He only guided Lin Yi's path of cultivation. "So that's how it is, looks like it won't work." Faubert listened to Lin Yi's explanation, and suddenly felt very disappointed. He couldn't help but sigh and said, "In this case, we can only rely on Grandma Sun's own efforts. Li Fu, you don't have to worry too much about it. It's already a good thing to be able to get the Sun family's mental cultivation method and practice it again. It's only a matter of time before you regain your memory. There's no need to rush." Grandma Sun smiled and said, "There's still a long way to go." "Yes, there's still a long way to go." Faubert nodded and said, "I was too anxious. In fact, you have already accepted me again. Think about it carefully, it's not too important whether you regain your memory or not." Lin Yi saw that Faubert and Grandma Sun were very open about it, and he was relieved. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1966. If Grandma Sun's qi wasn't in her head but in other parts of her meridians, Lin Yi could help to expel it. However, the qi was in her head, so Lin Yi didn't dare to act rashly. He was afraid that it would cause more damage to Grandma Sun's head, so it was better for Grandma Sun to cultivate on her own. Book C Pavilion Net. After sending off Faubert with Grandma Sun returned to her room to continue cultivating. Now, other than cleaning up the house, Grandma Sun spent the rest of her time cultivating. She found something to do, so she wouldn't be so bored every day. Lin Yi was about to go back to school, but he heard the doorbell outside the villa. Who would come at this time? Obviously, it wasn't Xiao Shu and Xiao Xiao. They were rehearsing in the afternoon. Even if they came back, they had the key. Faubert just left. Could it be that Faubert came back? When he opened the door of the villa, he saw Han Jingjing standing outside. "Why are you here? Is there anything else?" Lin Yi was a little depressed when he saw Han Jingjing. This girl was too clingy, and she always asked tricky questions that were hard to answer. Lin Yi usually kept his distance from her. "I want to get the property certificate. Can you accompany me?" Han Jingjing asked. "Get the property certificate? Go get it yourself. Do you need someone to accompany you?" Lin Yi was a little speechless. She accompanied her to school, she accompanied her to the bathroom, and now she wanted him to accompany her to get the property certificate? "My car is at school. How can I go without a car?" Han Jingjing said. Book C Pavilion Net. Pfft. Your car is at school, and you want to come back with me? Is there something wrong with your brain? Lin Yi didn't know what to say after hearing Han Jingjing's words. "It saves gas," Han Jingjing said matter-of-factly. "If I take your car, wouldn't I be able to save money on gas? You came home just to collect these procedures?" Lin Yi glanced at Han Jingjing, who was holding a portfolio in her hand. He also had one, which was given to him by the agent. When the property certificate was issued, he would use these documents to get it from the administrative hall. "Yes." Han Jingjing nodded. "Then why didn't you drive when you knew that you were going to apply for a property certificate?" Lin Yi didn't know what to say. "Don't I have you?" Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi strangely. "If you drive, why should I drive? Am I stupid?" Lin Yi took a deep breath and thought to himself, "You're not stupid, I'm stupid. I'm a fool, okay?" Shaking his head, Zhang Xian calmed himself down and said, "Wait a moment, I'll go get my property certificate too." "Oh, so you're going to get a property certificate too? Why didn't you say so earlier? I felt a little guilty. Now you're just taking me there on the way." Han Jingjing said happily. Book C Pavilion Web. I. Lin Yi pointed at Han Jingjing, but in the end, he didn't say anything. Was this girl from planet Namek? Why did she think differently from normal people? So, Lin Yi guessed that it would be useless to tell her, so he might as well not say it. Turning around and entering the villa, Lin Yi took out the portfolio given by the agent. According to the agent, the property certificate would be issued in about half a month, and he could go to the administrative hall to get it. Now that the military training was over, it had been half a month, but Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry. He thought that he would go get it during the weekend, but he didn't expect that Han Jingjing would ruin his plans. After getting in the car, Lin Yi set up the navigation system in the administrative hall and drove out of the Xueshang district with Han Jingjing. You left your car at school, and you don't need to care about it? Lin Yi asked. Yes, so you can accompany me to school at night and get the car back. Also, you can pick up my brother from school, Han Jingjing said. Lin Yi really wanted to slap himself. How could his mouth be so fast? It was just a random topic, but he didn't think that it would cause him trouble. Can't you just let your brother drive it back? Lin Yi suggested. My brother doesn't know how to drive, Han Jingjing said. Then why are you taking my car back? Do you have nothing better to do? Lin Yi almost broke down if it wasn't for the strict training he had gone through. His mental endurance wasn't something a normal person could compare to. Why do you say that? Aren't you going to pick up Yao Yao and Shu tonight? Han Jingjing asked. That's good, they both know how to drive. I'll let them drive your brother's car back. Lin Yi thought about it and agreed. He still had to pick up Meng Yao and Yushu. Okay, Han Jingjing agreed readily. Lin Yi finally breathed out in relief. He was about to say something when Han Jingjing continued. But my brother doesn't have the car keys. We have to give them the car keys. Pretend I didn't say anything. Let's go to school together. With that, Lin Yi shut his mouth and didn't say another word to Han Jingjing. Lin Yi didn't want to die from anger. There weren't many people in the office at this time. Lin Yi parked the car downstairs and got the property certificate with Han Jingjing. It didn't waste much time. Lin Yi was about to go back to the villa when Han Jingjing said, Is there an antique market nearby? Lin Yi bro, can you bring me around? What are you going to the antique market for? Lin Yi asked curiously. I want to buy a cauldron, Han Jingjing said. Cauldron? Why do you want to buy that? Lin Yi frowned, but his heart was slightly shocked. A cauldron was something used by an alchemist. Although this thing was also used by Taoists in ancient times for alchemy, so this kind of thing would sometimes appear in the antique market. But Han Jingjing was a student. Why would she buy a cauldron? To study alchemy. Han Jingjing didn't hide it and told Lin Yi the truth. Alchemy? Lin Yi was shocked. Who was this Han Jingjing? She actually knew about alchemy? Could she be a disciple of some hidden family or ancient sect? Yeah, you don't know about alchemy? Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi with an even more strange expression. You came to study medicine, but you haven't heard about alchemy? Then do you know what an alchemist is? Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's surprised look and smiled bitterly in his heart. Was the profession of alchemist so common that ordinary people knew about it? You're talking about the legendary refiners in the world of practicing? Lin Yi asked without batting an eyelid. So Lin Yi bro knows about it too. I knew it. Those who come to Boss Bai to study medicine are more or less the children of their families who are in the pharmaceutical industry. Han Jingjing nodded and said, I want to be an alchemist, so I applied for medicine. Then do you know how to become an alchemist? Lin Yi continued to ask. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1967. I don't know. Han Jingjing shook her head blankly. Do you know, Lin Yi bro? I don't know either. Book Ocean Pavilion, Lin Yi said faintly. There was no way he'd tell a classmate he'd only known for a few days that he had Zhang Liju's notes. You don't know, what kind of cauldron did you buy? I can study it, Han Jingjing said. Besides, I've found a lot of information about elixir refiners on the internet. I want to study it myself. Besides, I always go to the antique market. Maybe I can find an elixir refiner's practitioner's arts. I see, go ahead and study it then. Linny didn't say anything. It seemed like this Han Jingjing had heard about elixir refiners from somewhere, and started to study elixir making, but she didn't know how to do it. Of course, it'd be weird if she became an elixir refiner that easily. With that thought, Linny let go of his suspicions. Normal people didn't know about practitioners and elixir refiners, but those rich people who hired practitioners as bodyguards would still know about practitioners, and as for elixir refiners, those practitioners would definitely know about them. So it was normal for a rich girl like Han Jingjing to have a practitioner as a bodyguard, and it wasn't hard for her to find out about elixir refiners from her bodyguards. But it seemed like she was obsessed with elixir refiners, and she even applied for a major in university. Yes. Han Jingjing nodded heavily. Linny bro, don't you like elixir refiners? I don't know how to do it even if I do, Linny said faintly. Then when I learn it, I can teach Linny bro, and then we can dual practice together, Han Jingjing said. Pfft. What? Dual cultivation? Linny coughed twice, shocked by Han Jingjing's words. Yeah, isn't practicing elixir refiners together dual practice? Han Jingjing looked at Linny, confused. Alright, when you learn it, I'll dual cultivate with you. Linny was too lazy to explain too much to Han Jingjing. This little girl had probably become stupid from studying alchemy and herbs since she was a child. If he explained too much to her, she would definitely ask why, so Linny decided not to explain. And that's great. Then, big brother Linny, it's a deal. It's a deal. Han Jingjing stuck out her little finger. What? Linny frowned. Pinky promise, Han Jingjing said. Only pinky promise can guarantee that you are not lying. Okay. Pinky promise. Seeing that Han Jingjing was going to talk endlessly again, Linny quickly interrupted her, stretched out his little finger to hook with her, perfunctorily completed the task. Book C Pavilion Net. Pinky promise. You can't change it, Han Jingjing said. No change. Can we go now? Linny started the car and said helplessly. No, aren't we going to the antique market now? I want to study alchemy, so I have to buy a medicine cauldron. If I don't study, how can I teach you? Big brother Linny, you won't not support me, right? Han Jingjing looked at Linny pitifully and asked. We have pinky promise. Linny looked at the time and found that there was still a lot of time before school ended, so he nodded and said, Okay, then let's just walk around. The antique market in Donghai City was located near the Dongtian Gate. Linny had never been here before. He could only rely on the direction of the GPS to come to one of the largest antique market in Donghai City and even the entire province. Because Donghai was a provincial capital, the antique market in Donghai City was much larger than other cities. Linny parked the car in the parking lot of the antique market. The parking fee was 20 yuan, which made Linny feel a little cheated. This antique market was really something for the rich to play. Even the parking fee was more expensive than other places. Fortunately, Linny didn't care about this little money. After parking the car, he walked into the antique market with Han Jingjing. The antique market was very big. There were all kinds of things for sale. There were all kinds of things, real and fake. It was difficult to buy the real thing if one wasn't an expert. However, Linny wasn't interested in buying antiques. There were so many treasures in the ancient tomb, but Linny didn't take any of them away, let alone spend money to buy these things. What Han Jingjing wanted to buy was a medicine cauldron. This kind of thing wasn't common. Generally, it depended on luck. However, there were many imitations. It was just that the material of this kind of thing wasn't much different from the real thing. It was either cast iron or copper, which was enough for a junior alchemist. The two of them came with a purpose. Linny had the idea of looking around casually, while Han Jingjing was specifically looking for a medicine cauldron. Therefore, the two of them were basically looking around. After walking through more than half of the market, Han Jingjing finally found a stall that specialized in selling medicine cauldrons. How much is this medicine cauldron? Han Jingjing directly picked up a cast iron medicine cauldron that looked similar and asked. This was used by the Ming Dynasty's celestial protector, Taoist Zhang. When the seller saw Han Jingjing's dress, he knew that she was a rich girl. She probably didn't know anything about antiques, so he directly started to bluff. Big brother Lin Yi, is this person stupid? I asked him how much is he selling it. Why did he say so many inexplicable words? Han Jingjing put down the medicine cauldron and said to Lin Yi, AI. Little girl, how can you talk like that? Who are you calling stupid? When the stall owner heard Han Jingjing scolding him, he suddenly became a little unhappy. Big brother Lin Yi, look at this person. Not only is he stupid, but he also doesn't know his place. The things he sells are definitely not good. Let's go to someone else's shop and have a look. Han Jingjing turned around and was ready to leave. Wait, don't go. I'm not telling you the origin of the medicine cauldron. If you don't want to listen, we can talk about the price. When the stall owner saw that Han Jingjing was about to leave, he immediately became anxious and quickly stopped her. Big brother Lin Yi, let's go. Han Jingjing was determined to leave. Lin Yi was helpless. He had to turn around and follow. However, before the two of them could walk far, two burly men blocked their way. What do you want? Han Jingjing looked at the two big men in front of her vigilantly. You want to leave after breaking the medicine cauldron? It's not that easy, one of the big men said coldly. They were punks in this area. The merchants in this antique market all paid them protection fees. Naturally, they would help these people solve some problems. It was a mutually beneficial thing. Just now, the stall owner was scolded by Han Jingjing. He was already a little unhappy. Seeing that the business that was in his hands was gone, he naturally felt even more uncomfortable. So, he found two punks to teach Lin Yi and Han Jingjing a lesson. In the stall owner's view, both of them were dressed like students. Han Jingjing was also wearing famous brands. With one look, he could tell that they were rich people. It was naturally not difficult to squeeze some money from them. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1968. Moreover, the medicine cauldron that Han Jingjing picked up just happened to have a corner missing. In fact, it was deliberately made like this to show that it was old. It was an antique work of art, but at this moment, it was a good opportunity to blackmail. Books see pavilion / Broke the medicine cauldron? You mean the one just now? I just picked it up and looked at it. Han Jingjing knew that these two people were deliberately sent by the stall owner to make things difficult for her. There was a trace of panic in her eyes, but when she thought that Lin Yi was by her side, she felt more at ease. Whether it is broken or not, we will know when we go back. The other man made a gesture and said, Please don't make things difficult for us. Then let's go back and have a look. Lin Yi didn't put these two people in his eyes at all. Lin Yi had other plans when he went back. The stall that sold medicine cauldrons was quite complete. If Han Jingjing didn't leave, Lin Yi also planned to take one back to study and practice. This antique market was very big, and Lin Yi didn't have the mood to continue shopping. Moreover, Lin Yi also saw that there was no real treasure here. Looking at the customers coming and going, there were many experts among them. If there was a good thing, it would have been taken away by them. Moreover, Lin Yi didn't expect to get what he needed here. Han Jingjing listened to Lin Yi and naturally didn't refuse. She turned around with Lin Yi and returned to the previous stall under the escort of the two men. Little girl, this medicine cauldron, when you put it in, you broke a corner. Isn't it a bit inappropriate to leave like this? The stall owner naturally couldn't blatantly blackmail. After all, he was a local resident here. He didn't dare to be too extreme. If these two students didn't know what was good for them and called the police or went to the market management office, then he would be in trouble. Broken? Han Jingjing frowned. It's here, look. The stall owner picked up the medicine cauldron and pointed to the ear on the side of the medicine cauldron. Indeed, there was a broken ear. Did I do this? Han Jingjing looked at the hole on the cauldron in surprise. This is an antique. Naturally, it has to be handled with care. You just threw it on the table with a bang, so it's normal for a corner to be broken, the stall owner explained. Ah? Brother Lin. Am I that powerful? You can break the cauldron? Han Jingjing looked at her hand and said in surprise. Oh, what do you want to do? Lin ignored Han Jingjing and looked at the stall owner indifferently. He asked. This medicine cauldron was the Ming Dynasty's celestial protector. The stall owner began to talk nonstop. It's not wrong to say that you're stupid. I asked you what you want to do, and you're not answering my question? Lin interrupted the stall owner impatiently and asked coldly. Big brother Lin, you can also see that this stall owner is stupid? See, I'm right. When Han Jingjing heard that Lin agreed with her point of view, she immediately became very happy. Humph! The stall owner snorted coldly, but he wasn't in the mood to care about this. His main purpose was to extort, not to quarrel, so he said directly, This medicine cauldron is 50,000 yuan. Take out the money. It has been broken by you, so I can only sell it to you. Oh. Lin picked up the medicine cauldron, and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. This medicine cauldron is from the Ming Dynasty? Only 50,000 yuan? That's really cheap. I say, boss, is there something wrong with your brain? You. The stall owner quoted 50,000 yuan, which was already a sky-high price among imitations. The normal price of this thing was only a few hundred yuan. He wanted 50,000 yuan, which was already a lot. He didn't expect the other party to think that it was too little. The boss was wrong just now. It's 500,000 yuan. The macho man behind Lin Yi suddenly said. 500,000 yuan, not a single portion less. Hurry up and take out the money, or we'll be in trouble. When the boss heard the macho man's words, he was suddenly happy. Although he knew that even if he got the 500,000 yuan, he would probably have to share it with these two people. He estimated that he had to give half to these two people, but he could get 250,000 yuan, which was a lot more than the previous 50,000 yuan, so he immediately said, Yes, it's 500,000 yuan. I was wrong just now. 500,000 yuan. Hee, you mean that if I give you 500,000 yuan, this medicine cauldron will belong to me? Lin Yi weighed the medicine cauldron in his hand and asked. Of course. The stall owner nodded and replied. Oh, since it's mine, then I can deal with this medicine cauldron however I want. As Lin Yi said this, he squeezed his hand. The originally solid cast iron medicine cauldron couldn't even be compared to mud in Lin Yi's hand. It was directly squeezed into an iron ball by Lin Yi. Then, with a ping sound, he threw it on the table. The quality of your medicine cauldron is so bad, and you said that we broke it? It can be crushed with just a squeeze, and you dare to ask for 500,000 yuan? When the stall owner saw that Lin Yi suddenly squeezed the medicine cauldron into a piece of iron, he was immediately dumbfounded and couldn't say a word. And the two macho men behind Lin Yi's face changed. Although these two men were gangsters from a nearby gang, there was also a master in the early phase of the golden class in the gang. Crushing the medicine cauldron, that master could also do it, but he was the most powerful existence in the gang, even the gang leader respected him. But this young man in front of them actually had such strength, how could this not surprise these two gangsters? They weren't fools. The move that Lin Yi showed just now was obviously intentional. If they didn't know what was good for them, they would probably be beaten up. This kind of ruthless person that even the gang leader respected, how could they dare to offend? I have eyes but failed to recognize empty tie. Both of you are from a noble family, right? I'm sorry if I offended you just now. One of the macho men quickly cupped his fist at Lin Yi, then pulled the other macho man and prepared to leave. And the other macho man gave the stall owner a look, lowered his voice and said, Old Wang, did you see wrongly? How could these two young masters and young mistresses deliberately destroy your broken medicine cauldron? It's just 50 yuan of trash, even if they broke it, it's giving you face. After that, the two of them quickly left. Anyway, they had already hinted to the stall owner that if he didn't be careful and offended someone, then it wasn't something that these two punks could solve. In fact, At the moment when Linny crushed the medicine cauldron, the stall owner knew that he had kicked an iron plate. Looking at the reaction of the two gangsters, the stall owner was even more afraid. It turned out that these two were ruthless people. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have extorted them. Haha, I was just joking just now. This medicine cauldron is only 50 yuan, it's not worth mentioning. In the blink of an eye, the 500,000 yuan medicine cauldron became 50 yuan, but the stall owner's expression was very natural, as if he didn't mention 500,000 yuan at all. I called the two of you here to apologize. These medicine cauldrons are all imitations. I said that they were from the Ming dynasty, but that was bullshit. In order to express my apology, the two of you can just take a few medicine cauldrons. If you like this work, I welcome you to come to Starting Point and vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1969. Really? Han Jingjing was overjoyed when she heard that it was free. You're not that stupid. Hee, of course, we can't always be stupid, right? After hearing what you said, I was enlightened. I'm not stupid anymore, so you're my great benefactor, you can pick whatever you want. In order to avoid trouble, the stall owner tried his best to please Lin Yi and Han Jingjing. Book C Pavilion / the two hoodlums had made it very clear that these two might be from noble houses. There were many noble houses in Donghai, but no matter which one, even if it was the Khan family that hadn't become a noble house yet, they could easily deal with an antique seller like him. So naturally, he didn't dare to offend them. Han Jingjing picked a bronze cauldron that looked good, and Lin Yi also randomly picked one to study. But when they left, Lin Yi still gave the stall owner 200 yuan because Lin Yi didn't want to take advantage of him. 200 yuan was the cost of these two cauldrons plus the one he broke earlier. After sending the two away, the stall owner wiped his sweat. He thought to himself, I can't scam people anymore. I almost got into trouble today. Luckily, I was smart, and those two didn't want to teach me a lesson. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll be in danger. After buying the cauldrons, Lin Yi didn't want to continue looking around, and Han Jingjing's goal was the cauldron. So the two left the antique market and went straight to school. It was almost time for school to end. Donghai Industry University. The news spread very fast in the school. Especially the news that Su Shihan was going to attend the freshman party. Naturally, the news spread throughout the school in no time. Although everyone was doubtful about this news, the medical students all patted their chests confidently, claiming that they had already video chatted with Su Shihan, and Su Shihan had personally chosen the performance for them in the video. Not only that, Su Shihan was coming tomorrow, and she would rehearse with them and go to the freshman party together. Also, the class leader of the medical major, Bai Weituo, said on the school's BBS that this was actually a challenge. His performance was all for a girl he liked. Bai Weituo simply wrote down the bet between him and Zhang Duopan on the BBS. The purpose of this was to prevent Zhang Duopan from going back on his word and not admitting it. Of course. More importantly, it was to win He Meiyue's favor. Bai Weituo's writing was very emotional. He said that his true feelings for He Meiyue had touched Su Shihan, so Su Shihan helped him after knowing that He Meiyue was his fan. Although this theory was very far-fetched, let's not talk about how Bai Weituo knew Su Shihan. Even if he managed to contact Su Shihan wouldn't come to the freshman party for a stranger, right? If Su Shihan was this kind, then there would be things to do every day, and she wouldn't have to do anything else. But even so, some people were moved by Bai Weituo's true feelings, and He Meiyue was one of them. Meiyue, this Bai Weituo is really considerate. He knows that you're Su Shihan's fan and he actually invited Su Shihan here. He even made a public post saying that it was for you. Xiaoling said excitedly. Sai, isn't it all because of Zhang Duopan? I wonder how much Bai Weituo paid to invite Su Shihan this time. He Meiyue wasn't stupid. She knew that Bai Weituo couldn't have invited Su Shihan because he was moved by her or something. One had to know that Su Shihan's appearance fee was sky high. and normal people couldn't even invite her. And this time, if it wasn't for Zhang Duopan inviting Su Shihan's junior sister Qingyi to the freshman party, Bai Weituo wouldn't have invited Su Shihan. Now, in order to suppress Zhang Duopan, he could only grit his teeth and invite a celebrity. Meiwa didn't know how much Bai Weituo spent, but Zhang Duopan used his family's connections to find Qingyi. He still spent 200,000 in appearance fee, and that was the price of a favor. One had to know. Qingyi was just a celebrity, she couldn't be compared to Su Shihan. If it wasn't for her junior sister Su Shihan's halo, probably not many people would know her. Moreover, just singing a song on stage would cost 200,000 yuan. This price was really not low. It could be seen that Zhang Duopan spent a lot of money. Bai Weituo invited Su Shihan. From Meiyue's point of view, at least 1 million would be spent, and even 1 million would be hard to invite. Although Meiyue knew that Bai Weituo's roommate, Lin Yi, seemed to be very rich, she didn't want Bai Weituo to owe Lin Yi too much. Among the many pursuers, Meiyue had high hopes for Bai Weituo. So, if she really chose Bai Weituo, naturally, she didn't want Bai Weituo to owe too much, because Meiyue wasn't a person who liked to owe others. Meiyue, you don't seem very happy? If someone performed for me, I'd be so happy, but that Zhao Xingji guy, other than being fat and inviting me to dinner, he doesn't know anything. Chai Shaoling said enviously. Man, I hope it's like you. Do you think it's a good thing to have a guy fighting for you? Meiyue shook her head. As the two were talking, Wang Xinyan pushed the door open and entered the room. Chai Shaoling saw Wang Xinyan and immediately said excitedly, Xinyan, how is it? Don't tell me your class really invited Su Shihan? Originally, Chai Shaoling could have called Zhao Xingji, but she and Zhao Xingji hadn't confirmed their relationship yet, so she didn't want to be so proactive. Coincidentally, Wang Xinyan came back, so she asked Wang Xinyan, Ah? You guys know too? Wang Xinyan also just got the news. She received Bai Weituo's call and went to Lin Yi's room, but Lin Yi wasn't there yet. So, Wang Xinyan followed Lin Yi's arrangement and learned how to perform a small role. Now that she just came back, she heard the discussion of her roommates. These people sure got the news fast. Of course, Wang Xinyan still didn't know that Bai Weituo couldn't wait to declare war. The school's BBS is spreading, it seems like it's true? Chai Shaoling said excitedly. Last time Su Shihan held a concert in Songtan, I really regret not going. It was about to be the college entrance exam, otherwise I would have definitely gone. This time, Su Shihan can attend the freshman party. It's such a good opportunity. I finally got to see Su Shihan in person. Yeah, I regretted not going, but it's about to be the college entrance exam. Who can take a leave? Meiyue said regretfully. This time, it's hard for Bai Weituo. Oh right, Xinyan, you're close with Lin Yi. This time Su Shihan came to the freshman party. Did he help her? How much did he actually spend? If you like this work, you're welcome to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1970. Ah? He knows Su Shihan. Even if he knows her, he can't just come like that, can he? Meiyue said, shocked. How good is he to be able to invite her without spending money? I don't know about that, because I didn't ask. Xinyan shook her head. But since he's here, there's no need to feel pressured. Lin Yi won't try to impress himself. Xinyan knew Lin Yi very well. She knew that Lin Yi wasn't someone who would let himself get the short end of the stick when they met on the train. People cheated him, but he took all their money. So, this Su Shihan thing shouldn't be too difficult. But what Xinyan didn't know was that Lin Yi treated his friends very well. Even if it was difficult, Lin Yi would still try to help. But Lin Yi wouldn't do something like that. That's good. Meiyue nodded. While the school was boiling with excitement, Zhang Duopan's face was as dark as a pig's liver as he sat in the rehearsal room, smoking. Motherfucker, Bai Weituo actually invited Su Shihan? If we invite Qingyi, even if she can get a place, she won't be a match for Bai Weituo. Zhang Duopan cursed. This time, he was 100% sure that he would win. With Cheng Yi on the stage, at least the first place of the singing competition would be his. Most of the student council members in charge of voting would vote for them. After all, they had to give face to celebrities. But now, the first place was probably Su Shihan, and the second place was Cheng Yi. Although second place was already a great result, in Zhang Duopan's eyes, it was as ugly as it could be. This was simply a slap in the face. Brother Zhang, it can't be that they're just creating hype, right? Fan Ganhe also frowned as he browsed the school on his phone. The post on the S forum hesitantly said, "Then they will use this incident to destroy our morale and make us give up on our own accord? I don't think so. As long as Bai Weituo isn't crazy, he wouldn't use such a despicable method. Otherwise, even if he succeeded, our morale would be affected and we would have to give up our performance. He may well would look down on him." Zhang Duopan shook his head and said, "This matter is most likely true, but how did they invite them? We spent 200,000 to invite Cheng Yi, and that's because your dad's company asked her to endorse a product before, so they gave her a discount. How come Su Shihan's appearance isn't more than 1 million? Fan Ganhe asked suspiciously. "I don't know, but that Lin Yi seems to be a rich man. Maybe he paid for it," Zhang Duopan said. "That bastard, I'll beat him to death sooner or later." Fan Ganhe was furious when he heard Lin Yi's name. Last time in the cafeteria, he wanted to beat Lin Yi up, but the instructor came before he could do anything. He didn't have the chance to do anything, which made him very frustrated. "Cheng Yi will be here tonight. I'll ask her and see if this is true or not. Su Shihan is her Shiji from the same sect, she should know about this," Zhang Duopan said. "Then do we continue practicing?" Fan Ganhe asked. "Of course, how can we not practice? When Cheng Yi comes, we'll continue to practice. Even if we lose, we have to lose with dignity. If we give up, then he may well will look down on us even more." Zhang Duopan snorted. "Then if you lose, Brother Zhang, won't you have to give up?" Fan Ganhe asked worriedly. "That's fine. We'll just say that the bet was made when we drank too much last time. Everything was because we were drunk. I don't think he may well will say anything," Zhang Duopan said. "But if I give up directly, then he may well will think that I'm afraid." "That's different. Brother Zhang, you're so smart," Fan Ganhe said with admiration. "Of course, I'm going to take over the family's company in the future. I can't do it without some intelligence," Zhang Duopan said proudly. Lin Yi didn't know that the school was in an uproar because of Su Shihan's incident. He parked the car in the school parking lot, and Han Jingjing seemed to be interested in Su Yef equals. Book C Pavilion Necherhan didn't seem to be interested. She didn't even mention it on the way. After parking the car, Lin Yi sent a message to Mississippi. Han Jingjing was also contacting her brother. Not long after, Meng Yao and Yushu came. He didn't expect Han Xiaoqiao to follow behind them like a little follower. "You're not getting off?" Lin Yi turned to Han Jingjing and asked. "Why should I get off? Aren't you going home?" Han Jingjing asked. "Home, but don't you want to drive your own car?" Lin Yi pointed at the X5M not far away. "No, it's a lot of gas. My brother and I will go back in your car," Han Jingjing said matter-of-factly. "Okay." Lin Yi was already used to Han Jingjing. He really didn't want to say anything more. Meng Yao and Yushu walked over. Yushu was originally sitting in the front passenger seat, but she frowned when she saw that it was taken by Han Jingjing. She was a little unhappy. Han Jingjing seemed to see Yushu's displeasure as well. She took the initiative to get off the car. "I'll sit in the back." Since Han Jingjing said so, Meng Yao and Yushu didn't say anything more. Although they were hitchhikers, they were still neighbors. After driving home, Han Jingjing brought Han Xiaoqiao back to their villa. Lin Yi, Meng Yao, and Yushu went back as well. "Lin Yi, I heard you invited Su Shihan?" Meng Yao asked. "Yeah," Lin Yi said and told Meng Yao and Yushu about helping Bai Weituo chase Himeiwe. "You sure have the mood to help someone else get girls." Meng Yao didn't get angry when she heard that Lin Yi was helping someone else. Oh, I thought Shield Bro was trying to get on that Fox Yan's good side, Yushu said. Man, why would I do that? Besides, she's not called Fox Yen, Linny said. She's seducing Shield Bro. She's called Fox Yen, Yushu said. Alright, Shu, I told you not to give people nicknames. It's easy to offend people. Mingyao didn't know why, but she didn't want to offend Sinyan. Perhaps Sinyan could really become Lin Yi's first wife? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1971. If that was the case, then the three would have to spend a lot of time together. If they really offended each other, then there would be no turning back. Oh. Yushu nodded unwillingly. Right, Falbert left already? Mingyao didn't see Falbert when she walked into the villa. She only saw Grandma's son working in the kitchen. Yes, he left in the afternoon. Report the results to Uncle Chu. If it's possible, we'll set up a company branch here, Linny said. Mingyao nodded and didn't say anything else. She turned to the cauldron in Lin Yi's hand and asked, What's that? I saw Han Jingjing holding something similar in her hand just now. Cauldron. I'm going to study alchemy. Han Jingjing seems to be interested in it as well, Linny said. Mingyao didn't ask anything else after hearing that it was about alchemy. Grandma's son quickly placed the delicious dishes on the table. Mingyao and Lin Yi finally understood why a scavenger like Grandma's son could be so good at cooking. She used to be Falbert's wife, the Miss of House Sunday. She used to be the daughter of a rich family. Marrying into Falbert's sect meant marrying into a rich family. She must have received professional training on housekeeping. After dinner, Lin Yi went back to his room. Grandma's son cleaned up the dishes and went back to her room as well. Mingyao and Yushu sat on the sofa in the living room watching TV. Why is Shield Bro here every day? He doesn't even play with us. Yushu hugged her legs as she sat on the sofa. She suddenly felt bored. The cartoons that made her laugh didn't seem that funny anymore. Was this what it felt like to grow up? In the blink of an eye, she was already a university student. Her high school days were still vivid in her mind. Isn't he always like this? Mingyao shook her head. When we were in Songtan, didn't he go to dinner every day? It was just that we were more nervous every day. We'd study and read books after dinner. We didn't have much time to watch TV. That's true. We're just too free now, Yushu said in boredom. Yao Yao, we haven't played in Dahai yet. Why don't we go out for a walk? Today? It's too late. Let's do it on the weekend, after the freshman's gala. Mingyao was a little tired, and she didn't want to go out again. Lin Yi obviously went out, so she didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. All right. Yushu nodded disappointedly. After Lin Yi went back to his room, he read House Sun's Arts to Jiao Yazi and started studying the cauldron he just bought. This kind of cauldron was more than enough for a first-level Huang class refiner, because there was a limit to the amount of elixirs a Huang class refiner could concoct, so they didn't need a cauldron that was too good. But the problem was that Lin Yi wasn't even a first-level Huang class refiner. He could only condense the elixir fire, but he couldn't change the temperature or the intensity of the fire. With a slight change, the elixir fire would be extinguished. Lin Yi practiced a few more times, but the result was the same. He could only put the cauldron aside in disappointment. He was a genius in other people's eyes, but in reality, he wasn't much of a genius at all. The only thing he relied on was the art of dragon mastery and the jade space. If it weren't for the art of dragon mastery, Lin Yi would just be a very average talent. He was still a golden class master at 18 years old. Compared to those hidden houses and ancient sects, he was an idiot. So Lin Yi didn't force himself and put the cauldron aside. It was just that Lin Yi was worried about Xiao Xiao. 2 years seemed like a long time, but it had already been half a year. There was still a year and a half left, and if she couldn't learn alchemy by then Xiao Xiao would really become an inheritor. After entering the jade space, Lin Yi prepared to continue. There was a saying, hard work makes up for one's lack of talent. Lin Yi was already too far behind Crystal Candy, so he could only rely on hard work and the unique environment in the jade space to catch up. Jiao Lao, how is it? Did you see anything from the arts? Lin Yi asked casually. I did. Jiao Yazi's answer surprised Lin Yi. He thought that Jiao Yazi wouldn't be able to see anything in such a short time, but he really did. What? Lin Yi blinked. This is an incomplete, simplified, and improved first stage of the art of dragon mastery, Jiao Yazi said. What? Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words, and his eyes went wide. What? House Sun's arts is the art of dragon mastery? Maybe it's from the same source, or maybe it's just a coincidence. This technique should be similar to the first level of the art of dragon mastery, but there are many parts that are incomplete, or simplified, but improved. Jiao Yazi nodded and said, The first level of the art of dragon mastery allows one to transfer pure qi to others, repair meridians and heal injuries. All of these are in the Sun family's techniques, but the art of dragon mastery can only be used by men. EF equals, fastest text update book C Pavilion no advertising. However, the formula is suitable for both men and women. Ah? The improved version of the art of dragon mastery? How could the Sun family have such a thing? Isn't the art of dragon mastery unique? Lin Yi was shocked after hearing Jiao Yazi's words. Who said it's unique? The art of dragon mastery, in ancient times, was the mantra of the Yellow Emperor's tribe. However, it evolved into a sect, and with the passage of time, this sect became like Chio's chrysanthemum treasured book, gradually declining until it was lost. Jiao Yazi said. The ancestor of House Sun might have been one of these sects, but he was talented, and only received the incomplete first level of the art of dragon mastery. After improving it himself, it became the Sun family's technique today. So you're saying that my art of dragon mastery isn't unique? Lin Yi said as realization dawned on him. Of course not, but it should have been lost. Otherwise, the Sun family's technique wouldn't be incomplete and only have the first level of the improved version, Jiao Lao said. I see. Jiao Lao's words surprised Lin Yi. The Sun family actually had this kind of opportunity, and the ancestor of House Sun must have been an amazing person. With just the first level of the incomplete technique, he could improve the Sun family's technique. He could be described as a genius. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1972. What a waste of time. There are many extraordinary people in this world. You should be able to feel it. Your talent is actually very ordinary, but you are luckier than them. You have the space of the jade pendant, and also the art of dragon mastery, Jiao Lao said mercilessly. Of course, someone like Bingtang who reached the peak of the late phase of the heaven class at the age of 10 might not be a genius. If you entered the jade space 10 years earlier, you would have reached the heaven class already. So, many things are coincidental. This art of dragon mastery was obtained by Uncle Master by accident. That's why it became your destiny. Elder Jiao, why is the way you talk these days? It's almost like you're talking about some kind of Zen? Lin Yi said, looking at Elder Jiao oddly. It's nothing. I'm just reminding you not to be too proud. You have to be down to earth, Jiao Lao said faintly. But you can also practice the Sun family's technique. It's not too difficult. I can practice it? Wouldn't that waste a lot of time? What's the point of practicing it? Lin Yi asked. It's useless. Your first level of the art of dragon mastery can do everything it can do. But this woman can do it too, Jiao Yazi said. Damn, then why would I waste my time? Lin Yi was speechless. He closed his eyes and ignored Jiao Lao. He knew he was fooled. A flight slowly landed at the airport of East Ocean City, and a girl with tan skin and oversized sunglasses walked out of the domestic arrival gate in a low-key manner. John Duopan and Fan Ganha, who were standing not far away, immediately walked up to her. Chun! EF equals fastest text update, book C Pavilion, no ads. Miss Ching. John Duopan wanted to call Qingyi, but he was afraid that others would hear him and watch. After all, Qingyi was a celebrity with a little fame. If she attracted the attention of the media, it would be hard for her to get away. This wheat-skinned girl was Qingyi. Her skin color looked very healthy and beautiful. This should be the effect of some kind of light, giving people a wild beauty. Compared to Su Shihan's pure white skin, it was even more eye-catching. That was why she instantly gained a lot of popularity after her debut. This was also related to her skin color, which was why she was called the Coffee Girl. "Hello, young Master Pan." Qingyi also saw Zhang Duopan and walked over quickly. She was the spokesperson of Zhang Duopan's father's company. Naturally, she had seen Zhang Duopan several times at the company's parties and had some impression of him. "Haha, Miss Qing, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to help me," Zhang Duopan said as he extended his hand. Qingyi didn't have the intention to shake hands with him. It could be seen that she wasn't a casual person. So when she saw Zhang Duopan extend his hand, she very naturally passed her luggage to him and smiled. "Then I'll have to trouble young Master Pan." Zhang Duopan was slightly stunned. He wanted to shake hands with Qingyi, but Qingyi seemed to have misunderstood his meaning. She gave him her luggage, as if she had taken the initiative to ask for help with the bag. However, Zhang Duopan naturally couldn't refuse. He only paused for a moment and took Qingyi's luggage. "This is what I should do." However, his heart wasn't without regret. Although he knew that it wasn't very possible between him and Qingyi, this kind of thing wasn't something a rich young master like him could do. Moreover, it seemed that Qingyi wasn't the type of female celebrity that relied on this kind of method to make money and become famous. With Su Shihan's halo, she didn't need to do these things at all. She could slowly become famous normally. However, Zhang Duopan still wanted to get closer to Qingyi. After all, he was also very lecherous. It was just that Qingyi didn't let him succeed, so he didn't continue. He didn't forget that the main purpose of inviting Qingyi was to please Himeiwa and compete with Bai Weitul. If he wanted to chase after Qingyi, then it would be putting the cart before the horse. In the end, it was very likely that he wouldn't be able to chase after Qingyi, and Himeiwa wouldn't be able to catch up. Therefore, he wasn't that impulsive. He pulled Qingyi's luggage and left the airport with her. They got on the Land Rover Aura that was parked in the parking lot. Thank you so much this time. You really helped me out." Zhang Duopan got into the driver's seat and said to Qingyi, who was sitting in the back seat, "It's okay. You're Mr. Zhang's son, and I'm the spokesperson of Mr. Zhang. This little bit of help is nothing," Qingyi said generously. "However, young Master Pan said before that it might be a bit difficult to get first place in the singing category. Even if I'm a celebrity, your Donghai Industry University is one of the best universities in the province. There will always be someone stronger than you." "Oh, that's right. Now that you mention this matter, I just remembered something very important." Zhang Duopan's face changed slightly and became very serious. "It's like this. Originally, it wouldn't be a problem for us to get first place, but my opponent, the guy that I told you about, the guy that I want to beat, actually used his connections to invite your senior sister." "My senior sister?" Qingyi froze and didn't know how to react. "It's Su Shihan," Fan Ganha added. "Ah? They invited Su Shihan too?" Qingyi froze. "How can my senior sister participate in this kind of small event? As far as I know, she basically doesn't participate in all kinds of events." "Oh. Missy, you don't know about this?" Zhang Duopan also froze. "I'm also very confused. I don't know if it's true or not, so I'm asking you for confirmation. But looking at how confident they are, it seems like it's 80% true. Because their classmates said that they already video called Su Shihan, and Su Shihan already arranged a program for them in the video. If that's the case, then I'll ask." Qingyi nodded and took out her phone to call Su Shihan. Because of Lin Yi's matter, Su Shihan kept her phone with her and didn't leave it with her manager, Wang Jie. When the phone rang, she picked it up immediately. "Huh? Why are you calling at this time?" Su Shihan was a bit confused. Why did Qingyi call so late at night? "Senior sister, I just arrived in Donghai City. I heard that you're coming too. Qingyi asked. What? You're in Dahai City too? Su Shihan was even more confused. I'm going to Dahai City tomorrow, but why are you in Dahai City too? And how do you know that I'm going too? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1973. What a coincidence. I was invited by a friend to attend the freshman party of Donghai Industry University, but he said that you were also invited to help another class put on a show. So it's true, Qingyi said in surprise. Senior sister, I thought you never attend these kinds of events. Haha, this time it was a good friend who invited me, so I had no choice but to go. Shihan smiled. Plus, I've been too busy with work lately. It's good to go out and get some fresh air. Then aren't you afraid that you might get sick? Qingyi wanted to say that she had a headache, but then she remembered that there were outsiders in the car. Only the people in the company knew that Shihan had headaches. She was Shihan's junior sister, so of course she knew about it, but it was better to be subtle. Book C Pavilion Net. And I have medicine, Miracle Dr. Guan's painkiller, you know, Shihan said. No wonder you support them so much. Qingyi nodded. Oh right, us sisters haven't played together in a long time. Let's use this opportunity to go out and have some fun. That's good, I'm flying tomorrow afternoon. Which hotel are you staying at? I'll go find you. Book C Pavilion. Su Shihan agreed without hesitation. She had a good relationship with this junior martial sister. Both of them were pure girls, so Su Shihan liked to hang out with her. As for the other stars in the company, some were jealous of Shihan's results, so they were fake when they hung out with her. Some were that type of girls, and Shihan didn't want to be too close with them. I haven't reached the hotel yet, I'm on the way. How about this? I'll book a double room, we can stay together, Qingyi said. Okay, but tomorrow I'll go with my bodyguard driver, Feng Sanhuang. You can book a room for him too, Shihan said. Ah? You're bringing a bodyguard driver? That's so inconvenient, there's only 2 of us girls, how are we going to stay if you bring a man? It'll be troublesome to go shopping, Qingyi complained. Plus, we don't have a car, so we don't need to bring him, my friend here has a car. Plus, what danger would there be here? We're attending private events. That works too. Su Shihan thought about it. Linny had a car, but she wasn't going to bring a car, so Sanhuang wouldn't be of much use. She nodded. Then I'll go by myself. And I'll wait for you, Qingyi said. After hanging up the phone, Qingyi shrugged and said to Zhang Duopan, Young Master Pan, senior sister really came this time, so I'm afraid it's impossible for me to help you get first place. So, are we still going to participate in the performance? Of course. Zhang Duopan had already expected this result. He believed that Su Shihan would come back tomorrow. He just wanted to confirm it with Qingyi. He wasn't too disappointed. Of course. If we can't get first place, it's because we're not as popular as your senior sister. It's not that we don't work hard, but if we don't participate, it's a matter of attitude. You're quite open-minded. I'll help you then. Qingyi nodded. The best hotel near the school was Shueshang Hotel. Zhang Duopan booked a double presidential suite for Qingyi here. It wasn't as luxurious as a 5-star hotel, but it was the best in this hotel. Luckily, Qingyi didn't mind it and checked in right away. Zhang Duopan didn't bother Qingyi anymore. He promised her that he would pick her up tomorrow and go to the school to rehearse the show. He then left the hotel. Su Shihan originally planned to go to East Ocean City with Sister Wang and Feng Sanhuang, but Qingyi was there as well. She thought that Qingyi was right, and it was meaningless to bring a driver and manager to a private event. Therefore, she booked her own ticket online, in the ancient house of Feng Tian, who sat quietly on the bed. Feng Tian's injuries were very serious. His meridians were all broken, and he was like a vegetable right now. He had fainted after the Ice Palace test and hadn't woken up since. House Feng had also stopped supplying Nikian with the best herbs and treasures. This was because in the ancient houses, profit was the most important thing. Nikian wouldn't be able to recover no matter how many treasures he ate. Even if he used the Great Recover Pill and the Meridian Opening Pill, he would only be able to become a normal healthy person, but the damaged meridians wouldn't be able to recover completely. It was impossible for him to continue practicing. Even the alchemists from the Sky Elixir sect couldn't do anything. And so, Feng Tianhu was very angry. Nikian was his only hope. Although he had a son, his son's potential was far from Nikian's. His son only knew how to enjoy life, and he wasn't a good cultivator at all, of course. Although House Feng had given up on Nikian, Feng Tianhu hadn't. On one hand, he sent people to find the person who hurt Nikian, and on the other hand, he sent people to find a miracle doctor or medicine that could cure Nikian. Of course, he knew that the resources he had were limited. If he wanted to find a large amount of medicine and cure Nikian at all costs, he had to climb up to the peak of power in House Feng. He had to become the young master of the house, and only then would he be able to use more resources. Only then would he be able to cure Nikian. Feng Tianlin, it's not your son who's injured, and yet you're making sarcastic remarks in a family meeting. If I don't cause you some trouble, then I'll be letting you off too easily. Feng Tianhu shook his head and said faintly. However, just as he finished speaking, the phone rang. Feng Tianhu picked it up, and it was a deep male voice. This man was called Feng Sanku, and he was Feng Tianhu's follower. He was also the spy he sent to the common world to gather information. He was one of the more outstanding third-generation disciples of House Feng, and he was at the peak of the late phase of the mystic class. Back then, the hidden houses had an agreement that Earth-class experts couldn't casually come out into the world. Although it was a rule set by the hidden houses, it was a condition set by the Hidden Houses Arbitration Association. The Grand Elder of the Hidden House was someone who could fight against the ancient sects, and the founder was even more terrifying. Even the ancient sects and ancient houses had to treat him with respect. Although he had already left, the ancient sects still didn't send any Earth-class experts to the common world because of his reputation. But now, it was different since the hidden houses had broken the rule and sent out their Earth-class masters without any punishment or restrictions. The Hidden House Association didn't do anything. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1974. Therefore, Feng Tianhu started to think about sending an Earth-rank master out as well. Sometimes, Feng Tianhu even wondered if the founder of the Hidden House Association was already dead. Otherwise, why hadn't there been any news for so many years? And not only that, even the Grand Elder had disappeared. Feng Tianhu shook his head and decided not to think about it. He picked up the phone and said, "Sanku, what's up?" "Boss, there's news. Su Shihan went to Dahai City alone to participate in a private event. Feng Sanhuang won't be following. She's alone," Sanka said. Book Ocean Pavilion Net. "Okay, I got it. Your news is very timely, very good." Feng Tianhu sneered and hung up the phone. He thought to himself, "Second brother, this time I will let you have a taste of losing your own flesh and blood. Hee, if I tell this news to second sister-in-law, will she send someone to kill that girl?" Feng Sanhuang, who was beside Su Shihan, was the same as Feng Sanku, an excellent third-generation disciple of the ancient Feng house. He was also at the peak of the late phase of the mystic class, but he was the follower of the current heir, Feng Tianlin, and Su Shihan was Feng Tianlin's illegitimate daughter. With the help of Feng Tianlin, the young master of an ancient noble house, it was understandable that Su Shihan's path to stardom was smooth sailing. Ancient noble houses were existences that even hidden noble houses didn't dare to offend. But Feng Tianlin had always thought that he was very secretive, and no one knew that Su Shihan was his illegitimate daughter. But what he didn't know was that Feng Tianhu had already investigated this matter thoroughly, and not only did Feng Tianhu know, even Feng Tianlin's wife knew. The reason why Feng Tianlin's wife didn't make a move was because Su Shihan was a girl, and it wouldn't affect her son's succession as the third head of the family. The other reason was because Feng Sanhuang was always by her side. It wasn't impossible for an ancient noble house to send an Earth class to the common world, but there was an agreement between the hidden noble houses. She didn't want to go against that agreement just because of Su Shihan. San Juan was a disciple of the Feng family, and he knew everyone in the Feng family. At that time, if they sent people to kill Su Shihan but didn't kill Feng San Juan, then Feng San Juan would definitely report it to Feng Tianlin. Even Feng Tianlin's wife wouldn't dare to go too far. Book C Pavilion Net. But this time, it was a good opportunity. Feng Tian who didn't mind causing some trouble for Feng Tianlin. At the same time, he could also deal a blow to Feng Tianlin so that he wouldn't have time to compete with him for the position of the head of the family. Thinking of this, Feng Tian who got up and walked towards the second branch. The next morning, Lin Yi came out of the space in the jade pendant, feeling refreshed. He stretched his body. It was another beautiful day. The second stage of the art of dragon mastery was different from the increase in strength. The cultivation of the art of dragon mastery was a normal process of accumulating pure qi. Only through continuous accumulation of pure qi could one reach a higher level. However, there was no barrier like the level of strength. Perhaps it was because the first two stages were easier, but whether the later stages were easier or not, he didn't know. Anyway, every morning when Lin Yi came out of the space in the jade pendant, he could feel his improvement. Unknowingly, the second stage of the art of dragon mastery was about 1/5 of the progress, which was 20%. Lin Yi was quite satisfied with this progress. It hadn't been long, and he was already 1/5 of the way. Although the speed wasn't uniform, it would get slower and slower, but it was still much easier than the first stage. Lin Yi washed his face and went to the kitchen. Most of the time, Lin Yi cooked breakfast himself. Although Grandma's son was there, Lin Yi was used to making breakfast for the Miss and Shu. It was a habit he brought with him from Songhan, and he couldn't change it even if he wanted to. Grandma's son sometimes saw Lin Yi making breakfast, so she didn't disturb him. When breakfast was ready, the Miss and Shu woke up. Yushu saw that it was Lin Yi who made breakfast today, and she was very happy. Wow, I haven't eaten Shield Bro's food in a long time. It's great that I have something to eat today. Ahem. Shu. Meng Yao gave Yushu a kick. Why was this girl talking so flirtatiously? It's been a long time since I've eaten Shield Bro's food. What do you want to eat? This reminded Meng Yao of Jiangwen's condor cake or something. What's wrong? Yao Yao, don't you like Shield Bro's breakfast? Yushu asked curiously. Why did you kick me? I'm just telling the truth. I like it too. Hurry up and eat. Meng Yao didn't want to explain anymore. She sat down and picked up the chopsticks and started eating. That's weird. Why is Yao Yao acting crazy so early in the morning? Is she on her period? No, it's around the same time as me. We're together. I'm not on my period yet. Yushu mumbled to herself. Shu, go play somewhere else if you're not eating. Meng Yao almost went berserk after hearing Yushu's words. Ugh, I'm eating, Yushu said. There were signs of her period coming, but why was it early? Could it be that Yao Yao's sis had sex with Shield Bro secretly, and then took birth control pills? Yushu thought wickedly. After breakfast, Lin Yi and the other two got ready to go to school. They didn't want to call Han Jingjing and Xiao Chao, but their X5M wasn't back yet, so Lin Yi knocked on the fence of the villa, believing that Han Jingjing could hear them. As expected, Han Jingjing brought Han Xiao Chao out of the villa, but Han Jingjing's eyes were red as if she didn't sleep well the whole night. This surprised Lin Yi. Jingjing, what's wrong? You didn't sleep well? Meng Yao saw Han Jingjing's face and asked curiously. Ugh. I was studying alchemy last night, and I lost track of time. It's already morning, Han Jingjing said, a little embarrassed. Ah? You studied it the whole night? What did you find out? Meng Yao asked, surprised. She didn't think that a girl like Han Jingjing would be so interested in alchemy. I didn't find anything. Han Jingjing felt even more embarrassed when she said that. Ugh. Meng Yao paused, not knowing what to say. Lin Yi, on the other hand, smiled bitterly and shook his head. It seemed that Han Jingjing was also a dabbler, thinking the same thing whenever she wanted. After driving to school, they separated at the parking lot. Lin Yi and Han Jingjing walked to the biology building. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1975. Linny bro, do you know how to cultivate a refinement fire? Han Jingjing asked excitedly as they walked. Book Ocean Pavilion Net. I don't know, Linny said. Looks like I'll have to go buy a training manual, Han Jingjing said. Buy one. Linny was speechless. Right, I'll ask Mr. Bai later, see if he knows where to buy it. Han Jingjing clenched her fist as if she had just thought of a good idea. When he arrived at the classroom, the students in the class were excitedly discussing the program for the freshman party. Bai Weituo, on the other hand, was excitedly rehearsing with a few minor characters according to the music video on his phone. He looked like he was in full swing. Wang Xinyan, on the other hand, sat in her seat, quietly reading her book, as if this had nothing to do with her. She was the same as Lin Yi, acting as an extra in the show, so she didn't need to rehearse. All she had to do was sit in her seat and sing a few harmonies. Lin Yi walked over and sat beside Wang Xinyan, while Han Jingjing sat behind them. The only two girls in the class didn't want to be the main character. This made Bai Weituo feel helpless, but there was nothing he could do. One of the girls had an ambiguous relationship with Lin Yi, and the other didn't seem to be interested in Su Shihan. This made Bai Weituo helpless. Book Ocean Pavilion Net. Seeing Lin Yi come in, she could only walk over and beg. Lin bro, can you give me one? Give you what? Lin Yi blinked. A beauty, Bai Weituo said. Beauty? Lin Yi looked at Xinyan, then at Han Jingjing. You're letting them act in the show? Lin Yi is so smart, that's right. Bai Weituo nodded. You too, who wants to act? Lin Yi asked. I'll be like you, a cameo, Xinyan said faintly as she flipped through the textbook in her hand. What about you? Lin Yi turned to look at Han Jingjing. However, Han Jingjing did not answer directly. Instead, she turned to look at Bai Weituo and asked, Do you know alchemy? Quack? Bai Weituo was surprised. He didn't expect Han Jingjing to bring up this topic. He hesitated for a moment, but he still shook his head and said, I won't. Oh, then forget it. I want to study alchemy. I don't have time. Han Jingjing shook her head and rejected Bai Weituo's suggestion. Book C Pavilion Net. Bai Weituo sighed. He wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't. He smiled bitterly at Lin Yi and continued to lead the students to rehearse. But the good thing was that even if there weren't two girls as the main characters, there was still Su Shihan, the female lead. So when these guys surrounded her, it was like stars surrounding the moon. It was a different kind of charm. When it was about 8 o'clock, Boss Bai walked into the classroom. Bai Weituo also stopped rehearsing. After seeing Boss Bai, he quickly said, Professor Bai. In school, Bai Weituo always called Boss Bai Professor Bai or Teacher Bai. You guys are rehearsing? Boss Bai saw the lively scene in the classroom and asked. Yes, Professor Bai. Bai Weituo nodded and said, In that case, we'll cancel the classes in the morning. You guys can continue with your rehearsals. There are no classes today and tomorrow. You guys should strive to get a good ranking for our Faculty of Medicine during the freshmen's evening party tomorrow night. Boss Bai directly made the decision to cancel the class. Our medical major hasn't won an award for several years. It's all because of that little bastard Bai Wei Kai. His ability is too weak. You're not bad. Actually, it's all Brother Lin's credit. Bai Weituo didn't dare to take all the credit and quickly said, Oh? Boss Bai looked at Lin Yi deeply and said to him, Lin Yi, after the freshman party, come find me. Have you thought about what I told you before? Before? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He thought that Boss Bai was going to teach him some special medical skills, but what exactly was this medical skill? At this moment, Lin Yi's view of Boss Bai was completely different. Before, in Lin Yi's opinion, no matter how powerful Boss Bai was, he was just a character similar to Old Man Lin. However, since Lin Yi saw Yu Coiling Tiger's respect for Boss Bai and his respectful and serious attitude in class, it made Lin Yi feel that Boss Bai was really not ordinary. The Hidden Yu family was a big hidden family in alchemy and medicine, Their children were actually studying here so humbly, so how could Boss Bai be ordinary? After listening to Boss Bai's class, Linny also had a refreshing feeling. Many of Boss Bai's theories were different from Old Man Lin's. Although both of them were right, their directions were different, which broadened Lin Yi's thinking a lot and increased his knowledge a lot. Just the basic knowledge was already like this, so what special medical skills would Boss Bai be talking about? Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't help but look forward to it. Thinking back to the beginning, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously, but now it seemed that he had underestimated Boss Bai. Okay, after the freshman party, I'll find a time to go and find you. Lin Yi nodded and said. Hearing Lin Yi agree, Boss Bai chuckled and was very happy in his heart. He thought, kid, weren't you not interested in it at the beginning? Now after listening to a few of my classes, you think it's different, right? Although he didn't know why Boss Bai was looking for Lin Yi, after Yu Coiling Tiger heard it, a look of envy and jealousy flashed across his eyes. He had wanted to visit Boss Bai alone for a long time, but he never had the chance. He didn't expect Boss Bai to take the initiative to invite Lin Yi to find him. This made Yu Coiling Tiger think if he should also visit after the freshman party. Boss Bai didn't invite him, but if he went, he couldn't drive him away, right? After Boss Bai finished speaking, he turned around and left, while Bai Weituo continued to rehearse with the students. Yu Coiling Tiger and his two color-haired subordinates didn't perform or cause trouble, so they sat there as ordinary extras like Lin Yi. Bai Weituo knew that these three guys were not sociable, so he didn't deliberately ask them to do anything. In fact, if it weren't for Boss Bai, Yu Coiling Tiger wouldn't even bother to participate. But in Boss Bai's territory, he wanted to learn more knowledge, so he naturally couldn't go too far. If he didn't participate, wouldn't it be disrespecting Boss Bai? Moreover, it wasn't troublesome to act as an extra. All he had to do was sit there and hum a few times to harmonize. It was quite simple. The morning passed quickly, and it was time for lunch break. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1976. Su Shihun's flight was at 1 p.m., and Lin Yi was going to the airport to pick her up. Lin Yi told Sun Yan about it and sent a message to Miss and Shu before driving to the airport. Book Ocean Pavilion Net. It was around 11 p.m., and it would be about time for Lin Yi to reach the airport. Of course, other than Lin Yi's car, there was also a Land Rover Aurora. It was driven by Zhang Duopan, and he brought Qingyi to the airport. At the arrival gate, Lin Yi, accidentally, saw Zhang Duopan and a girl with sunglasses. Zhang Duopan also saw Lin Yi, and he was even more certain that Su Shihun was invited by Lin Yi. Because in room 444, only Lin Yi had a car. Although it looked low-key, only he had the ability to do so. It seemed like it was true. Since they saw each other, and they had the same goal, Zhang Duopan naturally put on a fake smile and walked over. Isn't this Lin Yi? What's wrong, coming to the airport to pick someone up? Lin Yi was confused when he saw Zhang Duopan, and he looked at the girl beside him. Lin Yi immediately guessed something. Was this girl the coffee girl, Qingyi? But Lin Yi didn't follow celebrities, and he didn't even know the famous Su Shihun. How could he know a small celebrity who just debuted? But since she was Su Shihun's junior, it was normal for her to pick Su Shihun up. Aren't you asking the obvious? Lin Yi said faintly. Humph, what's so great about inviting Su Shihun? Even if he won, it's not by Weituo's strength. He may or might not admit it, and the bet won't count. Zhang Duopan's face changed. He couldn't beat Su Shihun in the freshman party, and so Zhang Duopan started to push the blame away. Really? I don't know who broke the rules first and invited a celebrity. If you didn't invite them, we naturally wouldn't have invited them either. Lin Yi looked at Zhang Duopan with a smile that wasn't a smile. This kid really didn't keep his word. Now he was going back on his words. Zhang Duopan was rendered speechless by Lin Yi, but what Lin Yi said was right. Indeed, he invited the celebrity first, so he couldn't say anything. He could only snort and say, "Since relying on others doesn't count, then everyone doesn't count." It's useless for you to say this to me. You can talk to Himewa, Lin Yi said indifferently. Book C Pavilion Net. Whether or not Zhang Duopan went back on his word had nothing to do with Lin Yi. If he wanted to shamelessly go back on his word, then Lin Yi couldn't do anything about it. At most, he could let Bai Weitua talk to Himewa. Don't think that you invited Su Shihan. Let me tell you, Su Shihan will leave with Qingyi later. I think you came here for nothing. Zhang Duopan snorted. Oh, Lin Yi replied. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't care about him, Zhang Duopan was even angrier. He felt like he was playing the lute to a cow. He snorted and walked towards Qingyi, ignoring Lin Yi. After a while, Su Shihan's flight information was broadcasted. The flight had already landed, and there would probably be passengers coming out in a while. Sure enough, not long after, a group of people walked out of the exit. In this group, there was a person wearing a black trench coat, a black cap, oversized sunglasses, and an oversized scarf. If it wasn't for the figure, it was hard to tell whether it was a man or a woman. This person was obviously Su Shihan. She was much more disguised than Qingyi, but Su Shihan was much more famous than Qingyi, so her armor was much tighter. Qingyi was more familiar with Su Shihan. She immediately recognized Su Shihan and waved at her. Han sis! Hee hee! Shihan also saw Qingyi and nodded to her with a smile. Qingyi didn't call Su Shihan by her name. She only called her sister Han, so no one in the airport would think too much about it. Su Shihan also saw Lin Yi not far away. She was a bit surprised that Lin Yi came to pick her up. She thought that Lin Yi wouldn't come because this guy never came to pick her up. Whether she came to endorse products or to support Lin Yi's products, she came by herself. So this time, she didn't think that Lin Yi would come to pick her up. Lin Yi? You actually came? Su Shihan was very surprised. And you didn't bring a driver this time, nor did you bring a manager. Of course, I came to pick you up. Lin Yi nodded. How rare. Then let's go, I'm staying at Shueshang Hotel. He already booked a room for me, Su Shihan said. Su Shihan's words obviously meant that she was going to leave with Lin Yi. This made Zhang Duopan feel a bit embarrassed. He just swore to Lin Yi that he came for nothing, but from the looks of it, Su Shihan seemed to be very friendly towards Lin Yi. What was the relationship between these two? It didn't seem to be a simple hire. Senior sister, take our car later? Let's go to the hotel directly. We don't need to trouble your friend, right? Qingyi saw that Zhang Duopan was unhappy, and she didn't mind helping him. This was just a small matter to her. No need, I'll take Lin Yi's car. Su Shihan smiled and said, See you at the hotel later. That's fine too. Qingyi was also slightly dazed. Su Shihan actually rejected? What was the relationship between her and Lin Yi? Normally, in the company, when attending events, Su Shihan would often ride in the same car as her. Even if they weren't in the same car, Su Shihan would gladly agree if she invited her. But today, Su Shihan rejected. Seeing that Qingyi was rejected, Zhang Duopan's face darkened even more. It seemed that picking her up at the airport was a bit unnecessary. Out of the airport, the two cars went on the highway one after another. Zhang Duopan was unhappy and didn't wait for Lin Yi. He stepped on the gas and the car flew out, speeding all the way back to the hotel. What is the relationship between that Lin Yi and Su Shihan? Why does he look like a good person? He doesn't even give you face? Zhang Duopan was very unhappy and complained. Maybe they're very good friends. Qingyi wasn't angry and instead sent a text. The signal here doesn't seem to be very good. There might be a shield near the airport? Zhang Duopan said. You want to use a phone? You can use mine, I have a signal. Thanks, no need. I'll just send a text and tell the people in the company that I've picked up senior sister. Qingyi waved her hand and said, Target equals _blank. Chapter 1977. Looks like Su Shihan really wanted to help them. Now I don't even have the slightest bit of confidence. This is so annoying. Zhang Duopen said. Book C Pavilion Net. There's nothing we can do about it. Sister Han is a big shot. It's good enough that we got second prize. Cheng Yi didn't care. Lin Yi didn't care about Zhang Duopan's speed at all. He didn't even chase after him. Instead, he drove at a constant speed on the airport highway. Under normal circumstances, Lin Yi wouldn't break the rules if it wasn't something important. Thank you for coming to our classes program despite your busy schedule, Lin Yi said to Su Shihan. Now I know that your appearance fee isn't low. Cheng Yi has connections, and she asked for 200,000. You're asking for more than her, right? That's right. Normally, I wouldn't go even if they paid me 1 or 2 million, Su Shihan said. I'm here because of you. It seems like my face is quite big, Lin Yi said. That's right. Do you think I'd go if someone asked me? Not to mention not paying, I wouldn't go even if they paid, Su Shihan said. Ha! Lin Yi smiled, but his face suddenly changed. The smile on his face turned serious as he said to Shihan. Danger! Don't move! Ah? Su Shihan was startled. She didn't know what Lin Yi was talking about. But at the same time, 2 black Audi A6 dashed through the iron fence in the middle of the road. The iron fence was not far from Lin Yi's car, and the 2 A6s quickly stopped in front of Lin Yi's car. This sudden change made Su Shihan scream. Lin Yi seemed to be very calm and stopped the car. Behind Lin Yi, 2 Audi A6 drove over, sandwiching Lin Yi's car in the middle. Lin Yi couldn't move forward or backward. The reason why Lin Yi knew there was danger was because of the warning signal from the Jade. So Lin Yi knew in advance that danger was coming. Don't move in the car! Lin Yi looked at one of the 2 Audi A6s and frowned. The other 3 cars didn't matter to him, but the person in this car surprised Lin Yi. A mystic late-phase peak. Although to Lin Yi, this was nothing. He was already an Earth-class master. Mystic class masters were like ants in his eyes. It was easy to stomp them to death. But this wasn't so simple. Who was the one who sent this mystic class late phase peak? Lin Yi didn't think that it was sent by his enemies. Unless they were stupid, they wouldn't send a mystic late phase peak master to die. Last time, there were 3 Earth class masters, and one of them was a late phase Earth class master, but Lin Yi burned them to ashes. Would they dare to send a mystic? That wasn't realistic. Book C Pavilion Net. But if it wasn't sent by them, then who sent it? Could it be a robbery? But robbery? He hadn't heard of a robbery on the highway at the airport. And Lin Yi's car was very low-key. It was a Grand Cherokee. It didn't blink. Lin Yi clearly saw a Rolls-Royce drive by, but he didn't see them rob it. And if it was just a simple robbery, wouldn't it be too wasteful to send a mystic late-phase peak master? But all these guesses were pointless. After Lin Yi told Su Shihan, he got out of the car. The mystic late-phase peak master didn't move. Instead, 3 men in black suits got out of the other 3 cars. They pointed their guns at Lin Yi. Kid, tell the people in the car to get out. Otherwise, don't blame us for shooting you. People in the car? Lin Yi was startled. Were these people trying to kidnap Su Shihan? It didn't seem like they were targeting him. Otherwise, no matter how powerful an enemy was, they wouldn't send 3 normal people with guns to aim at an Earth-class master, unless they were crazy. Shut up and do it! A man in black scolded. You're here for Su Shihan? Who sent you? Tell me, and I won't kill you. Lin Yi looked at the man in black and said indifferently. Huh? Kid, you want to kill us? The man in black thought that he had misheard and immediately laughed loudly. You mean you can kill us? Is that so? Yes, since you missed a chance, there's no need to say any more. Lin Yi's hand shook, and a silver needle shot out, sinking into the man's chest. The man didn't even make a sound before falling to the ground. Lin Yi didn't even need to use pure chi to kill the man in black because he was just a normal person. At most, he was a cultivator who had just stepped into the door of martial arts. He wasn't even a golden class master. The other 2 people sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't think that this person would do it without any hesitation. The scariest thing was that they didn't see it clearly. They didn't know how Linny killed the man in black. Hiss, you, who are you? One of the two men in black asked. It's your turn. Who sent you? Linny asked. Who are you? Why are you here? The man in black asked nervously. You've also lost your value. Linny shook his wrist, and the second man in black fell to the ground. You. The third man in black was stunned. He still did not know how his two companions died, so he subconsciously stuttered a little. After saying the word, you, a few times, he hurriedly looked at the Audi A6 beside him and said, Brother Stanley, there's something wrong, please save me quickly. Actually, there was no need for the third man to speak. The man in black in the Audi A6 couldn't sit still anymore. He opened the door and got out of the car. It was a man wearing a black mask. The three people before didn't have their faces covered. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen. He looked at Linny coldly and said condescendingly, It seems that he values Miss Sue quite a bit. He also sent a driver here. But your strength isn't enough. Although you have flying needles, you haven't cultivated pure chi yet. You can't use the natural chi around you. It seems that you're not a cultivator. Who sent you here? My patience is limited, Linny said indifferently. Although Linny wasn't afraid of trouble, it was obvious that this was the airport highway. There were a lot of cars coming and going. Linny was afraid that Su Shihun's identity would be exposed. So, Linny wanted to end this quickly. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1978. This palm was very casual. In his eyes, this palm could easily kill Linny, but he didn't expect that Linny also pushed out a palm as if he wanted to take this attack head-on. Moreover, Linny's expression was like a smile that wasn't a smile, as if he wasn't afraid of this palm at all. Although the man in black was a bit confused, he didn't think too much about it. He naturally knew that this was a main road. Although he was from an ancient noble house and wasn't afraid of ordinary people, some things couldn't be overdone. After all, there was an ancient agreement. Bang! The two palms collided, and a muffled sound was heard. This sound made the black-clothed man relax, because he couldn't feel much power from Linny at all. It seemed that Linny was just a normal person. He had thought too much. However, in the next moment, the black-clothed man was stunned. Because, from Linny's palm, a huge wave of chi suddenly came, instantly entering his meridians. In an instant, he felt as if a wave of chi that could topple mountains and overturn the seas surged over, breaking all the meridians in the black-clothed man's body. You're an early-stage Earth class. The man in black widened his eyes in disbelief. He didn't think that there would be an Earth class besides Su Shihun. Could it be that Feng Tianlin really valued Su Shihun that much? Thinking up to here, Feng Sanlei suddenly felt a little sad. He was the subordinate of Feng Tianlin's wife. The reason he came here was to secretly kill Su Shihun. This time, he got the news from the third son of Feng family, Feng Tianhu. He thought that without Feng Sanwang, Feng Sanlei could easily kill Su Shihun, but Feng Sanlei smiled bitterly in his heart. He wanted to spread the news that there was a master besides Su Shihun, but he knew that it was just wishful thinking. In front of an Earth-class master, running away was just wishful thinking. Plus, if he was caught by Linny, and if he were to be interrogated, then the situation would be unbearable. Thinking up to here, Feng Sanlei suddenly had a sudden burst of energy. He used all the strength in his body and slapped towards the remaining man in black, easily killing him. Then, he waved his hand and slapped towards his own face. Bang! The masked man's head was smashed by himself. His brain was broken beyond recognition, and his entire head had exploded. It was very disgusting. Linny was secretly on guard. He was afraid that he would harm Su Shihun at the last moment, but he didn't think that this guy would kill his own people and then commit suicide. This kind of strange situation caught Linny off guard. Originally, Linny didn't kill him. Instead, he injured him to bring him back and interrogate him. He wanted to know who sent this guy. But this masked man was very decisive. He killed the only survivor of his own group and then committed suicide. It was a very cruel way to commit suicide. Looking at the mask of the masked man, and then looking at his broken head, Lin Yi vaguely guessed his purpose. He masked his face, which meant that he didn't want anyone to see or recognize him. He committed suicide in this way to destroy his own head so that no one would be able to recognize him. This person was very loyal. As for the other small fries who weren't practitioners, they probably weren't important people. He wouldn't be able to find anything from their faces. Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. It seemed that he was a bit careless. He only thought about Su Shihan's safety. He didn't think that the masked man would commit suicide. But it was already like this. Lin Yi couldn't do anything. Although it happened very fast, almost 2 to 3 minutes, Lin Yi saw the cars coming from behind and behind. He didn't dare to delay anymore. He ran to the 2 Audi A6 in front of the car and slapped them to the side of the road. Then, he quickly jumped into the Grand Cherokee and stepped on the accelerator. Su Shihan's face was very pale. Although she was in the car, she heard everything that happened outside. She also knew that these 4 people came for her. But who sent these 4 people? What was their purpose? Although Su Shihan had experienced similar kidnappings before, it wasn't as thrilling as this. The criminals' plans were all killed in the cradle by the police, and the people she faced weren't as vicious as this. In the end, they chose to commit suicide in such a cruel way. You're not scared, right? Lin Yi, on the other hand, had been through too many dangerous situations. What happened just now wasn't dangerous at all in his eyes. He'd even been stopped by the blood-clothed Yellow Spring sect before, and he'd even been beaten by 3 Earth-class Book C Pavilion EF equals. Therefore, what happened just now seemed too ordinary. It's okay. Su Shihan patted her chest. Her chest rose and fell, but it betrayed her true thoughts. She was indeed very nervous. Who did you offend recently? Lin Yi asked. These people are obviously coming for you. I offended anyone? I don't think so. Su Shihan shook her head. If you want to talk about a sinner, it would be Dr. Kang's medical company. Last time, I attended your product launch. Other than that, I didn't offend anyone. Kang family, impossible. Lin Yi denied this possibility. If they want to find someone, they should be looking for me. Plus, they wouldn't send such a weak person. Then I really can't think of who I offended. Su Shihan seriously thought about it. Forget it, don't think about it. Give me that Feng Sanhuang's number. Lin Yi said. Feng Sanhuang? Why do you want his number? Su Shihan was dazed. He's your driver. He follows you everywhere you go. I'll ask him to help me think. Lin Yi didn't say much to Su Shihan. Intuition told Lin Yi that Feng Sanhuang should be the person protecting Su Shihan. The masked man also said that he didn't think that there would be someone protecting Su Shihan here. In other words, Su Shihan also had someone protecting her over there. The only possibility was Feng Sanhuang. So, Lin Yi planned to tell this to Feng Sanhuang. He wanted him to investigate and see if Su Shihan had offended anyone. Oh, okay. Su Shihan didn't think much about it. She nodded and told Lin Yi Feng Sanhuang's number. Lin Yi wrote down the number. He didn't call in front of Su Shihan. Instead, he called Jiang Huaijuan. Captain Eagle, are you looking for me? Huaijuan picked up the phone. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1979. Yup, Junzi, just now on the airport highway, 4 Audi cars intercepted me. 2 of them were killed by me, and the other 2 committed suicide. Bring some men to control these corpses first. I'm afraid they'll destroy the evidence, Lin Yi said worriedly. Since the masked man could commit suicide in such a way, Lin Yi was afraid that there would be people coming to take the bodies away. What? Someone blocked you? Huaijuan paused. What's going on? Which force is it? Noble House or... If it's someone from Noble House, it's best to let the investigation department do it. I don't know yet, but they're mystic late-phase peak, Linny said. Then I'll tell Captain Feng Tianlong there's a practitioner, they should be the ones to deal with it, Huaijuan said. All right, Linny nodded. Shirhan, on the other hand, was confused. She didn't know what a mystic late-phase peak was. What was a practitioner? She'd never come into contact with these things before. She'd heard Meng Yao and Yishu talking about Xiao Xiao before, and Tang Yin. Shirhan sighed as she thought of this girl. He drove Shirhan to the hotel, and no one blocked them on the way. It seemed like there were only 4 cars blocking them, but Linny didn't let his guard down. He parked the car below the hotel, preparing to send Shirhan up personally. He was the one who invited Shirhan, so Linny had the responsibility to protect her. Whether or not these people came for Shirhan, Linny had to protect her. If something happened, even Linny wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Right, how are you so strong? Shirhan was still in a state of fear, and now that she calmed down, she finally remembered. How was Linny so strong? Not only did he kill 2 of them silently, but the other 2 were killed by his accomplice, and the other one committed suicide? It's all right, Linny said faintly. When we get to the room, it's best not to mention these things. And don't worry, your classmate is here, I won't say anything. Su Shirhan nodded. Linny wanted to tell Qingyi not to talk about it, but after thinking about it, he didn't say anything. After all, she was Su Shirhan's junior apprentice sister. It was their own business. The 2 walked into the hotel lobby. Su Shirhan took out her phone and called Qingyi. Senior sister? Have you arrived? Qingyi was surprised to hear Su Shirhan's voice. The radio just said there was a series of car accidents on the highway. Didn't you guys get stuck in traffic? We didn't. Su Shirhan hesitated but didn't say anything. After all, Zhang Duopan was Lin Yi's classmate. That's good. You scared me to death. I was still scared at the time. How good would it be if you took our car? Su Shirhan said. Haha, it's fine. Shirhan smiled. Which room are you in? I'll go up now. I'm in room 1108. You guys can take the elevator up, Chengyi said. Linny and Su Shirhan got in the elevator and went all the way to Qingyi's room. What surprised Linny was that Zhang Duopan wasn't in room 1108. Instead, he got a room in room 1105. Obviously, Qingyi didn't want him in her room. If she wanted to talk, she would go to his room 1105. But Zhang Duopan was rich, so he didn't mind. You go in, I won't go. I'll wait for you outside. Linny saw this and didn't follow. Okay. Su Shirhan also knew Qingyi's temper. Her room was usually only used by a few close sisters in the company and her manager. There was no one else. Linny glanced at Zhang Duopan in the opposite room. The kid was on the phone. He didn't care about him. He turned and walked to the safe passage at the end of the corridor and called Feng Sanhuang. Hello, who are you looking for? Feng Sanhuang looked at the unfamiliar number and asked politely. Feng Sanhuang? Linny asked. It's me, you are. Feng Sanhuang was secretly on guard. This person knew his name, but he still didn't know his identity. This person was definitely someone he wasn't familiar with, and it was impossible that Feng Sanhuang didn't have the phone number of someone he was familiar with, and it was impossible that he couldn't recognize his voice. Su Shirhan's bodyguard? Linny continued to ask. Who are you? Feng Sanhuang was even more shocked. No one knew that he was Su Shirhan's bodyguard. Even Su Shirhan herself didn't know about it. So when Linny revealed his identity, he panicked a little. It seems like my guess was right, Linny said. I'm Linny. Earlier at the airport, there was a Mystic Class late-phase peak who attacked us. I crippled him. I wanted to bring him back for interrogation, but he committed suicide. The way he did it was very disgusting. As he spoke, Linny told Feng Sanhuang what happened. Feng Sanhuang was relieved when he heard that it was Linny. Linny saw through his strength and knew that he was Su Shirhan's bodyguard. But what shocked him was that there was someone who intercepted Su Shirhan. And in this period of time, Lin Yi seemed to have gotten even stronger? He could easily cripple a mystic class late phase peak? The last time he saw him, he was weaker than him. He wasn't even at the peak of mystic class late phase peak. But now, I didn't expect this. Brother Lin, thank you so much, Feng Sanhuang said gratefully. My flight tonight is to Donghai City. Please take care of Miss Su's safety. Please. When Feng Sanhuang knew that Su Shihan was coming to East Ocean City on his own, he booked a plane ticket with her. However, he was still one flight behind Su Shihan. Su Shihan's flight was at noon, and he was going to take the night flight. He didn't expect that something would happen in such a short time. He was sent by Feng Tianlin to protect Su Shihan. If Su, book Ocean Pavilion soonest up big EF equals. If something happened to Shihan, even if Feng Sanhuang died, he wouldn't be able to escape the blame. So he called Lin Yi, Brother Lin. Of course, this was also because of Lin Yi's increase in strength. To be able to cripple a Mystic Class Late Phase Peak meant that Lin Yi was at least at the peak of Mystic Class Late Phase Peak. You're coming too? That's great. You can go investigate these people's background, Lin Yi said. As for Su Shihan's safety, you don't need to worry. With me by her side, nothing will happen. All right, thanks for the trouble, Feng Sanhuang said respectfully again. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1980. Then I'll hang up first. Book C Pavilion. Lin Yi listened to Feng Sanhuang's pleading tone. He had no doubt that he was the one protecting Su Shihan in the dark. But which force did he belong to? Why was he protecting Su Shihan? What was Su Shihan's identity? Of course, this had nothing to do with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi didn't want to know at the moment. He and Su Shihan could only be considered as good friends at the moment. It wasn't convenient for him to ask. Not long after Lin Yi hung up, Su Shihan also came out. She came out with Qing Yi. Lin Yi, let's go to school to rehearse, don't waste time, Yi is going too. Su Shihan waved to Lin Yi. Okay. Lin Yi walked over quickly. Zhang Duopen also came out of his room at this time. He didn't expect to see Fan Ganhe in his room, he just came. Lin Yi didn't see him before. Zhang Duopen was a bit annoyed when he saw Lin Yi, but Fan Ganhe was even more annoyed. He liked Wang Xinyan. Naturally, he wouldn't give Lin Yi any face. From Fan Ganhe's point of view, Lin Yi was the typical type of bastard who stood in the toilet but didn't shit. He always said that he had nothing to do with Wang Xinyan, but when they went out, they were still very close. Isn't this Lin Yi? Why didn't you bring Wang Xinyan? Could it be that you want to be alone with the superstar, and don't want anyone else? Fan Ganhe saw Lin Yi and wanted to say something sarcastic. Oh. Lin Yi responded, he didn't even look at him. F***CK. Fan Ganhe was infuriated, this was blatant disregard. Quarrel with people. He wasn't afraid of people scolding him back, he was afraid that people wouldn't even care about him, and his efforts would be in vain. He wanted to say something, but Lin Yi and Su Shihan were already walking towards the elevator. Fan Ganhe gritted his teeth, but it was useless. Whatever, Ganhe, there will be plenty of opportunities to deal with this kid. I plan to invite Himeiwa and her roommates to Tiger Park this weekend. We'll think of a way to humiliate them. Zhang Duopen sneered. He had no chance of winning at the freshman party, but he didn't plan to give up on Himeiwa, so he had to proceed to the next step. Okay. Listen to Brother Zhang. When the time comes, think of a way to teach them a lesson. Fan Ganhe nodded. In the teaching building of the biology department, in the classroom of the medicine department, the students were rehearsing the actions in the music video in full swing. And he walked in with Su Shihan, 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 Shihan. Shihan, Shihan, Su, Shihan, Zhou, Shan, up, Shihan. Seeing how serious everyone was, Su Shihan was a little surprised. She originally thought that it would be very difficult to bring a group of non-professional students to recreate the scene of the music video, but now it seemed that a lot of people were already doing it well. Huh! Bai Weitu also felt someone coming, but he didn't pay attention. He raised his head and saw a fully armed girl next to Lin Yi. Su Shirhan? He paused for a moment, but immediately guessed what was going on. He. Hello, everyone. Shirhan smiled and waved at Bai Weitul when she saw that someone recognized her. Hearing this heavenly voice, all the boys who were rehearsing stopped what they were doing. When they saw the person at the door, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. Someone cheered. Su Shirhan is here. Ah, Su Shirhan is here. It's really Su Shirhan. Su Shirhan, I love you so much. Lin Yi sweated. He quickly locked the classroom door. If the other students found out, they wouldn't need to rehearse anymore. They'd all come to see the celebrity. Everyone quiet down. You guys are so loud. The students from the other classes would probably hear it. At that time, Fang Qiu, at that time, I'm afraid we won't be able to rehearse anymore. Shirhan smiled and made a shushing gesture. Needless to say, the power of a celebrity was not just for show. Just one gesture and the noisy classroom quieted down. Su Shirhan, hello, I'm the class leader of the medical course, Bai Weitul. I'm also Brother Lin's follower. Bai Weitul ran in front of Shirhan and introduced himself. Hello? Since you're the class leader, tell me, how's your rehearsal going? In order to save time, I'll see your progress first and then decide on the next step, okay? Shirhan heard that Bai Weitul was Lin Yi's follower, so her attitude towards him was very gentle, which made Bai Weitul feel very flattered. Shirhan didn't have the air of a celebrity at all. This surprised all the students. They didn't expect Lin Yi to be so powerful. Not only did he invite Shirhan, but she was also very polite and kind. Even Right Coiling Tiger was very jealous. He cursed in his heart. What kind of ability did this Lin Yi have to make Shirhan look at him in a different light? Okay, I'll tell you now. Bai Weitul quickly nodded. Lin Yi didn't listen to Bai Weitul's introduction anymore. He went back to his seat. The rehearsal had nothing to do with him anymore. Lin Yi didn't care. You don't follow celebrities? Lin Yi looked at Wang Xinyan in surprise. He realized that every time he saw her, she was always so quiet. Quiet like a pool of water, without any emotion. From the moment Lin Yi entered the classroom, Wang Xinyan had been flipping through the textbook in front of her. When Lin Yi sat down, she only raised her head and smiled at Lin Yi. Then, she continued reading. I like her songs. Most of the songs in my MP3 are her songs, but idols dash. Xinyan shook her head, a little regretful. I want to, but I don't have that much time to waste. I want to enjoy my university life as much as I can with the limited time I have. Limited time? Lin Yi was startled. He remembered the engagement between her and Xiaolong. He opened his mouth to say something, but closed it again. What identity should he use to make Wang Xinyan reject the engagement with House Kong? There are some things that you can't fight against. When you can't fight against it, you can only accept your fate. Wang Xinyan's expression seemed calm, but Lin Yi knew that not many people would be calm in this kind of situation. But Lin Yi didn't know what to say. He could only take it one step at a time. If he could destroy House Kong as soon as possible, Wang Xinyan would be able to relax a lot. What surprised Lin Yi was that Han Jingjing was also lying on the table, studying something. She was writing and drawing on the notebook in front of her. There were a lot of numbers and formulas. It made Lin Yi dizzy. To be continued. If you like this work, I welcome you to come to Starting Point and vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1981. This girl can't be an alien, right? How can her thoughts be so weird? Lin Yi shook his head and didn't bother with her. Lin Yi was afraid that if he asked a random question, it would attract more questions. Wouldn't that be asking for trouble? Zhang Duopen was from the economics department. At this moment, his class was also busy rehearsing. But Zhang Duopen wasn't in a good mood. In comparison, his classmates were quite happy. Although they couldn't perform with a top star like Su Shirhan, Cheng Yi was still a rising star. Even if they couldn't get first place, getting second place was already quite an honor. Many classes wanted to get into the top 10 but couldn't. Because they didn't have a bet with Zhang Duopan, they were more relaxed. On the other hand, Zhang Duopan was depressed. He originally wanted to play a supporting role, but he didn't want to anymore. Going up was equivalent to embarrassing himself. It was better to be an inconspicuous cameo. Fan Ganhe didn't participate in his class's program. He was Zhang Duopan's follower, so naturally, he would follow Zhang Duopan. "Zhang bro, how about tonight? I find a gunny sack and put it on by Weituo's head. We'll beat him until he can't take care of himself. That way, he won't go on stage, and the program won't be his anymore." "Doesn't that mean we'll win?" Fan Ganhe suggested. "What do you mean by can't take care of himself? Are you stupid? If he gets beaten up, the first suspects will be us. When the school investigates, we won't be able to escape punishment. We have to think before we do things." Zhang Duopan wasn't stupid. He directly rejected Fan Ganhe's suggestion. Bai Weituo is a freshman. He just came to the school. If there's a conflict, it's with us. Do you think everyone else is stupid? Fan Ganhe really couldn't think of any other way to win the competition. Don't think about the competition. A loss is a loss. Zhang Duopan had already accepted it, and didn't want to think about it anymore. An afternoon of rehearsal passed just like that, and at night, Qingyi asked Su Shihan to go shopping. It was the first time for both of them to come to East Ocean City, and they hadn't shopped in East Ocean City yet. Su Shihan didn't want to go. After all, something terrible had just happened. However, she didn't want to tell Qingyi, so she hesitated and decided to ask Lin Yi. When Lin Yi received Su Shihan's call, he had just sent Han Jingjing and Han Xiaoqiao back and entered the villa with Miss and Shu. "Miss Su, what's the matter?" Lin Yi saw that it was Su Shihan's call and picked it up. "How many times have I told you, call me Xiao Han or Su Shihan? Isn't calling me Miss Su too distant?" Su Shihan didn't like the way Lin Yi addressed her. Okay, Xiao Han," Lin Yi said. "Qingyi wants to go shopping with me, but that thing happened on the highway. I'm a bit worried." Su Shihan said. "I don't really want to go, but I don't want her to be a wet blanket. Oh, then I'll go with you guys. Wait for 10 minutes, Feng Sanhuang will be here. He'll rent a business car and we'll go together," Lin Yi said. "Ah? Feng brother is coming too?" Su Shihan was startled. She didn't know why Lin Yi called Feng Sanhuang, but Lin Yi took Feng Sanhuang's phone number before, so it must be Lin Yi who called Feng Sanhuang. "And we'll go together later." Lin Yi couldn't reject Su Shihan's request. After all, he was the one who invited Su Shihan. Not only was he the host, but he also didn't spend a single cent of his appearance fee, so it was a bit unreasonable if he didn't act as a temporary bodyguard. "And okay, we'll wait for you at the hotel," Su Shihan said. "Go shopping? Go shopping? I want to go too." Yushu eavesdropped on Lin Yi's phone call. "Is it with Xiao Han sis? Can we go?" The miss was also a bit tempted. "Forget it this time, let's talk about it next time, I'll go with you guys alone." It was the first time Lin Yi rejected the miss and Shu's request. He briefly told them about what happened on the highway earlier in the afternoon. That's scary?" Meng Yao and Yushu's faces changed. "So I'm afraid that there will be danger at night. If you guys go, I'm afraid that I won't be able to protect you," Lin Yi said. "These people are obviously coming for Su Shihan. And then we won't go. Lin Yi, be careful." Meng Yao naturally wouldn't pester him anymore. "Xiao Han sis is your guest, don't let her get hurt." Ancient House Feng. A middle-aged woman with a gloomy face sat in front of Feng Tianhu. Although this woman was old, she was still attractive. There was an indescribable noble aura around her. Her identity was obviously not ordinary, but her face was very ugly at the moment. "Tianhu Sanlei is dead. You know, he is the most powerful master in my hands. The strength I have is limited. Your second brother is always on guard against me. I have no way to control the other masters, but the only master is actually dead," the middle-aged woman said bitterly. "This second sister-in-law, that little girl has a master in Donghai City. I really didn't expect this. Feng Tianhu smiled bitterly. Humph, what do we do now? If your second brother comes after me, what should I do? The middle-aged woman obviously didn't have much of an idea. She was the kind of person who was impulsive and reckless. This didn't match her noble appearance at all. And now San Juan has gone to Dahai City. In reality, she didn't have any ulterior motives. She was a rich young mistress. Marrying into House Feng was just a marriage alliance. Haha, actually, you don't have to worry. Once Su Shihan is dead, there will be no evidence. I think second brother won't pursue it anymore. Feng Tianhu said faintly. Oh? So you already have a backup plan? The middle-aged woman asked. That's right. I've already sent Feng Merbing. Even if San Juan goes, it'll be a waste. It'll only take a few minutes to kill him. Feng Tianhu said indifferently. Feng Merbing? Earth-class mid-phase? You can use a second-generation disciple of House Feng? The middle-aged woman widened her eyes in disbelief. Haha, who doesn't have a trump card? Not only me, second brother probably has one too. Feng Tianhu sighed. If it wasn't to help you this time, I wouldn't want to reveal my trump card so early. You have to keep it a secret for me. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1982. That's not a problem. The middle-aged woman didn't even think about it. In her eyes, fighting in the family wasn't important. Killing Feng Tianlin's mistress and little bastard was the most important thing. One had to say that Feng Tianlin's failure was marrying such a brainless and unruly woman. Although he had the support of her family, she didn't help him wholeheartedly, and kept creating trouble for him. For someone like Feng Tianlin, who was the heir of an ancient house, who didn't have multiple wives and concubines. But his first love's flesh and blood had to be sneaky, and he couldn't even see her. This made Feng Tianlin very frustrated. He was a little envious of his big brother's choice back then. He didn't care about anything and just ran away from the marriage and married a woman from the common world, cutting off all ties with the ancient House Feng. He, on the other hand, didn't want to disappoint his father, and for his big brother's safety, he married this woman who was supposed to be his big brother's fiancée. What Feng Tianlin didn't expect was that this woman was really unruly, willful, and jealous. He didn't know where she got the news that he had a mistress and a daughter outside, but she actually brought people to kill him. His wife was nowhere to be found, and his daughter was only found many years later after much effort. Feng Tianlin hated his wife to the core. Although she was his wife, he didn't have any feelings for her. He still loved his first love, Su Shihan's mother. Feng Tianlin knew that his wife had gone to kill him, but he didn't do anything. Instead, he chose to endure it, because he knew that this was most likely caused by his third brother, Feng Tianhu. Feng Tianhu had always coveted the position of the young master. Otherwise, it would be impossible for such detailed information to be known by only a few close brothers. However, as Feng Tianhu's son, Feng Niyan, gradually revealed his talent, the old man placed more and more importance on Feng Tianhu. Feng Tianhu's power in House Feng was also growing, and this made Feng Tianlin even more cautious. He could only continue to endure until the day he truly controlled House Feng. At that time, he wouldn't be afraid of anyone anymore. Considering the many years of marriage and the face of their son, Feng Tianlin wouldn't do anything to his wife, but he definitely wouldn't force a smile to serve her every day like now. The first thing Feng Tianlin had to do after he became the head of the family was to bring his daughter back and announce to the public that she was his daughter. Moreover, he would find his older brother and bring him back to the Feng family. Although his older brother had been kicked out of the family by his father, a new ruler brought his own ministers. His father was the head of the family, and now, he, Feng Tianlin, was the head of the family. Feng Tianlin's relationship with his older brother was the best. Although they didn't share the same mother, they were closer than real brothers. This was also one of the important reasons why Feng Tianlin married his current wife in place of his older brother. If he didn't marry her, his father would blame his eldest brother even more and might even kill him. And this was what Feng Tianhu hoped for. He hoped that this marriage would be broken, and that his father would kill his older brother while his second brother would plead for mercy. This way, both of them would lose trust and both of them would be finished. His third brother would naturally take over. So, for his older brother, in order to prevent his third brother's plan from succeeding, Feng Tianlin gritted his teeth and persevered for so many years. However, Feng Tianhu, because of his son, Feng Niqian, seemed to be on the same level as him. This made Feng Tianlin's life more and more difficult. But not long ago, Feng Tianlin received a great news. Feng Tianhu's son, Feng Tianhu, was acting tough during the Ice Palace's test. He used his title of strongest below Earth class, and was beaten into a cripple by an even stronger strongest below Earth class. Feng Tianlin knew that his chance had come again. Although to House Feng, Feng Nitian's death wasn't a good thing, to Feng Tianlin, it was a good thing. However, Feng Tianlin didn't know that his wife was working with Feng Tianhu to deal with Su Shihan. So, when Feng Tianlin received Feng Sanhuang's call, he was shocked. What did you say? Someone was on the airport highway, trying to deal with Shihan. Feng Tianlin panicked. Yes, master, but Miss Su's friend took care of it. It's a mystic late-phase peak master. Sanhuang told Feng Tianlin everything that had happened. What? Mystic late-phase peak? Feng Tianlin was even more shocked. This was the first time that Su Shihan was attacked by such a powerful cultivator. Although there were kidnappings and robberies in the past, those were only done by some small gangs. This time, it was obviously not that simple. Plus, these men in black chose to commit suicide in such a cruel way after they failed. They obviously didn't want to expose their identity. Who sent them? Could it be his wife? Or his third brother? Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin's heart skipped a beat. Su Shihan's identity was a secret. Although he found Su Shihan, he never acknowledged her. How did his wife and brother know about it? Do you know who did it? Feng Tianlin asked. I'm not sure yet. I just arrived at Donghai City. I heard that the bodies were taken away by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I need to find someone I know. I don't know if they can see it, Feng Sanhuang said. Although the ancient noble houses had absolute power, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau might not give them face. It was a complicated organization. If there's no other way, forget it. Feng Tianlin wanted to say something but shook his head. In this situation, he couldn't contact that person before he had a firm foothold. If he did, it would be against the family rules. Feng Tianhu would be looking for trouble. Okay, master, I'll try my best, Feng Sanhuang said. When Lin Yi arrived at the hotel, Feng Sanhuang was there as well. He was driving a Buick GL8. Seeing Lin Yi, Feng Sanhuang jumped out. Brother Lin, thank you for today. Feng Sanhuang actually bowed to Lin Yi this time. Lin Yi paused. He felt that Sanhuang's words had exceeded a normal bodyguard's. Even if he was Su Shihan's bodyguard, he didn't need to go through all this formalities. Mr. Feng, Lil Han came to my place, and it's my duty to protect her. There's no need to thank me, but I see that you seem to care a lot about Su Shihan? You like her? Target equals _blank. Chapter 1983. Book Ocean Pavilion Chapter 1995. Being followed. Pfft. Ahem. Sanhuang's heart skipped a beat when he heard the first half of the sentence, but the second half made him choke. I was actually asked by someone to protect Miss Su, but it's a secret kind of protection that Miss Su doesn't know about. In Miss Su's eyes, I'm just a normal chauffeur and bodyguard, not a practitioner, so please keep it a secret, Brother Lin. Sanhuang's heart skipped a beat when he heard the second half. Oh, I get it, you're the celebrity's bodyguard. Lin Yi wasn't surprised at all after hearing Sanhuang's words, because he was the school beauty's bodyguard. It was just that the nature of his job was different from Sanhuang's. Lin Yi was in the light, and Sanhuang was in the dark. You can say that. San Huang saw that Lin wasn't surprised at all, and felt that Lin wasn't a normal person. Brother Lin, if I may be so bold, your current strength, Earth class. Lin didn't hide it, but he didn't say whether it was early, mid, or late stage Earth class. After all, San Huang and Lin weren't that close, and Lin didn't want to say too much. San Huang took a deep breath. The last time he saw Lin, he was still a peak mid-mystic class, and now he was an Earth class? Thinking back to what Lin had said to him, don't think that just because you're a peak late mystic class, you can talk big in front of me. Could it be that Lin was an Earth class back then, but he suppressed his strength to peak mid-mystic class, and not an Earth class? If that was the case, then why did he shamelessly threaten Lin? San Huang blushed just thinking about it. No wonder Lin wasn't afraid at all and directly threatened him back then. It turned out that he was suppressing his strength. Of course, San Huang didn't think that Lin could jump from mystic mid-phase peak to Earth class in just a few months. That speed of leveling up was like riding a rocket. It would be amazing if he could break through a small class in just a few months. Brother Lin, I've offended you before. Miss Su's safety will be in your hands later. San Huang's attitude towards Lin was even more respectful. Lin waved his hand and didn't say anything else. Instead, he pointed in the direction of the hotel and said, "They're out. Let's not talk about this anymore." "All right." Lin's words were exactly what San Huang wanted. San Huang didn't want to discuss this in front of Su Shihan. "Xiao Han!" Lin greeted Su Shihan. As for Qingyi, Lin only nodded to her. But Qingyi didn't seem to mind. She didn't seem to like talking to Lin. She pulled Su Shihan and got in the MPV. Lin sat in the front passenger seat, and San Huang naturally became the driver. Although San Huang wasn't familiar with the terrain of Dahai City, he was Su Shihan's professional driver. He was very good at finding the way. He only needed to look at the GPS to know how to get there. He started the car and went straight to the busiest commercial street in Dahai City. On the way, Su Shihan and Qingyi were discussing something. But Lin wasn't interested in listening. It was mostly about how to make up, how to be beautiful, and how to have a good body. After a few turns, San Huang arrived at the commercial street and parked the car in the parking lot nearby. "I didn't expect Dahai City's commercial street to be so busy this late." Su Shihan looked at the street outside the car window and said in surprise, "Dahai City is a provincial city. Naturally, there are a lot of shops that are open 24 hours. Lin said. "Thank you, Lin. It's so late, but you came out to shop with us. Sorry for disturbing your rest," Su Shihan said gratefully. Changyi frowned. It was a great honor for a normal person to be able to come out with a big star. Zhang Duopan wanted to come along, but she rejected him. Why was Su Shihan begging Lin? "It's okay." Lin and San Huang walked behind Su Shihan and Qingyi, as if they were their bodyguards. Su Shihan probably didn't have many opportunities to go shopping. Everything she saw was new. Lin couldn't help but sigh. Although celebrities seemed to be famous, they didn't have much time. Every day, they just had to work and work. Qingyi, on the other hand, had a lot of knowledge about brands and shops. She was the one who brought Su Shihan to shop. San Huang, on the other hand, was very nervous. He was always on guard. His eyes kept looking around as if he was afraid of missing something. Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry at his seriousness. "I say, San Huang, you don't have to be like this, right? Relax a bit. Otherwise, I'm afraid that Xiaohan will be fine, but you'll be so nervous." "Brother Lin, I have to kill the danger in the cradle." San Huang smiled bitterly. "I'm different from you. I have to ensure Miss Su's safety. Especially after what happened today. It's okay. I'll watch for you. I'll tell you if there's any danger," Lin said. Although Lin said that, San Huang saw that Lin didn't seem to be on guard at all times. So, he didn't relax at all. From his point of view, Lin was an outsider. No matter what, he wouldn't be very careful. He, San Huang, was different. Linny looked at Feng Sanhuang and shrugged. He didn't say anything. Along the way, the four of them went to most of the shops on the street. Shirhan seemed to be especially addicted to shopping, including the shops that sold mobile cases, small accessories. She would go to all of them, even buying one or two small things before leaving reluctantly. This situation made Linny sigh. Miss Su's work is actually very busy. Book Ocean Pavilion. She's a very hard-working person. She hasn't followed any unspoken rules. Her current results are all from her own efforts. Although I've helped her along the way, it's also related to her own purity. If she wants to abandon herself to vice, I can't do anything about it. Feng Sanhuang saw Linny sigh. He knew what Linny was thinking. He explained. Plus, she used to have headaches that could act up at any time. That's why she didn't have the chance to go shopping. Luckily, you helped her. Linny nodded. He didn't answer. He also felt that something was wrong. Linny had been laughing at Sanhuang earlier, telling him not to be so careful, but now, he felt as if he was being followed and watched. It was a feeling that came from the sixth sense he had when he was doing missions in the primeval forest. Book C Pavilion. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1984. Book C Pavilion. Because the jade didn't give any warning, it meant that either he was wrong, or the enemy was too far away, out of the jade's detection range. But Linny was leaning towards the first possibility, because Linny wouldn't be wrong about this feeling. Linny took a deep breath, and started to be on high alert. But for the rest of the journey, this feeling was very faint, and the jade didn't give any warning. This feeling made Linny very doubtful. Was there someone following him, or did they intend to harm him? After that, Linny still couldn't find the person following him. Either this person was an absolute master, and could follow him from a distance, or he was too vigilant because of what happened during the day. Huh! There's beef noodles here too? Qingyi pointed at the signboard of an alley next to the pedestrian street. What, you like to eat this? Su Shirhan asked curiously. Yeah, I've liked to eat it since I was young. It's been a long time since I've had it. Changyi said. No, I must go eat it today. Oh right, I forgot, your hometown seems to have this kind of noodles. Su Shirhan nodded. Since we're here, let's go eat a bowl? Okay. Qingyi nodded and said excitedly. But the alley looks dirty, and there's no one around. Can we eat this? Su Shirhan walked 2 steps and looked at the dark alley full of trash. She was a little hesitant. It's okay, I used to eat it when I was young, Changyi said. Okay, then let's go try. Su Shirhan hesitated and decided to accompany her. Seeing the two of them going into the alley, Linny instinctively felt that something was wrong, but he didn't know how to stop them. While he was hesitating, Su Shirhan and Qingyi had already walked into the alley. Linny had no choice but to follow with Feng Sanhuang. Feng Sanhuang's expression became more cautious and vigilant. He wanted to dissuade her. Su Shirhan Book C Pavilion. Why did they have to come to this kind of place? There were clearly a lot of snacks there, but they just had to eat noodles. However, this idea was suggested by Qingyi, and Feng Sanhuang wasn't her driver or bodyguard, so he couldn't say anything. The alleyway was very dark. There was no one and no light. There was a kind of eerie feeling. Su Shirhan was a little nervous. After all, this kind of eerie and dark scene reminded her of some bad memories. Su Shirhan subconsciously frowned and used both hands to press on her temples. Sister Han, what's wrong? Qingyi saw Su Shirhan's nervous face and quickly asked. Is your headache acting up again? And Shirhan nodded and quickly took out a bottle of Miracle Dr. Guan painkiller from her bag and poured it into the bottle. Medium, Qingyi rubbed Su Shirhan's temples and said with concern. Han sis, why don't we stop eating? Let's go back. Since you're here, let's go eat. Don't spoil the mood. Su Shirhan forced a smile. It's fine, don't worry about me, but... Qingyi looked at Su Shirhan's frowning face, still a little worried. However, as the two were arguing, Linny sneered. Since you're here, then come out. What's the point of hiding? Is this the behavior of an Earth-class mid-phase master? What? There's an enemy? Feng Sanhuang heard Lin Yi's words and jumped. Su Shihan and Qingyi were shocked as well. Two men in black came out from the darkness in front of the alleyway, but their faces were still covered with black masks, so people couldn't see their faces clearly. You're not simple. You can actually sense my presence, and you can even say my strength. Friend, which path are you on? I advise you not to get involved in this mess. It's none of your business here. One of the men in black was obviously afraid of Lin Yi, which was why he said these words. Of course, he was planning to ambush Lin Yi, but Lin Yi was able to see through his whereabouts. He was quite angry at Lin Yi, but he had other important things to do today, and he couldn't see through Lin Yi's strength, so he didn't want to cause more trouble. Moreover, he naturally wouldn't think that Lin Yi was tricking him to come out. After all, if Lin Yi could say his strength, it meant that he had already been discovered. In actuality, Lin Yi really didn't find any traces of this Earth-class mid-phase black-clothed man. It was through the jade that he found the movements of the other black-clothed man, a mystic late-phase peak master. Through this person, Lin Yi caught a faint trace of energy beside him, and that was how he found the black-clothed man. Why would I stand here if it's none of my business? Lin Yi looked at the man in black like he was looking at an idiot. If it's none of my business, why would I find your traces and say your strength? Do you think I have nothing better to do? You go deal with Su Shihan. I'll take care of this. The Earth-class man's face turned cold, and he ordered the mystic next to him. Yes. The black-clothed man nodded and flew towards Shihan, throwing a punch at her. Obviously, he wanted to kill Shihan with one punch. Lin Yi had been observing the reactions of these two, and when he saw the movements of the black-clothed man, he sneered, and his side also started to move. He used a bit of force in his legs and flew towards the mystic next to Su Shihan. In order to confuse the mystic in front of him, Lin Yi had been suppressing his strength, making it seem like he was only a mystic-class mid-phase peak. The purpose of this was to kill the mystic-class late-phase peak in one hit, and then he could focus on dealing with the Earth-class mid-phase master. Lin Yi didn't have the slightest confidence in winning against someone 2 levels higher than him, and he was a bit nervous, so he had to kill all the uncertain factors in the cradle. Although Lin Yi wasn't afraid of this mystic late-phase peak, with him here, if Feng Sanhuang couldn't stop him and allowed him to attack Su Shihan, then Lin Yi would have to send a clone over to save her. He didn't have the confidence to win in the first place, and if that happened, then there would be even less of a chance. Although Lin Yi had fought many Earth-class masters before, Boss Yu had just entered the Earth class and hadn't learned any martial arts yet, so Lin Yi was able to intimidate him when he was still a mystic, and the follower of Right Coiling Tiger. Lin Yi was having trouble dealing with him. If it wasn't for the Chi Bomb, Lin Yi wouldn't have been able to deal with him so easily. Book Ocean Pavilion, target equals, _blank. Chapter 1985. Book C Pavilion Chapter 1997. Who will be the winner? As for the other 3 Earth-class warriors, Lin Yi used his fire poison chi to burn them to ashes. But this move could only be used once, it was impossible to use it a second time. The only thing Lin Yi could rely on now was the first 3 moves of the Frenzy Fist. He didn't know if it would be enough to fight against this Earth-class mid-phase man. Humph! The mystic late-phase peak looked at Lin Yi coldly. When he saw that Lin Yi was only a mystic mid-phase peak master, a trace of disdain appeared on his face. Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. As he said that, his target changed from Su Shihan to Lin Yi. He raised his palms slightly, as if waiting for Lin Yi to attack. It wasn't that he was arrogant, but in his eyes, Lin Yi was only a mystic mid-phase peak master, and he was a mystic late-phase peak master. The two of them were 2 whole levels apart. If he couldn't kill Lin Yi like that, then it would be strange. So, the mystic class man in black looked at Lin Yi with pity in his eyes. In his eyes, Lin Yi was already a dead man. However, Lin Yi didn't seem to notice the danger at all. He still rushed towards the mystic. Not good. The Earth class man's heart skipped a beat. he yelled at the mystic. Careful! Don't fight him head on! The Earth-class man felt that Linny was a mystic mid-phase peak master, so he didn't put him in his eyes at first. But he suddenly thought that something wasn't right. If Linny could tell that he was an Earth-class mid-phase master, then how could he not see that the mystic was a mystic late-phase peak master? If that was the case, then Linny, a mystic mid-phase peak master, going to fight a mystic late-phase master head-on, wasn't there something wrong with his head? Either that, or he was courting death. More importantly, how did Feng Sanlei die? Feng Sanhuang hadn't arrived at East Ocean City at that time. Even if he had arrived at East Ocean City, it wouldn't have been easy to kill Feng Sanlei. They were all disciples of the Feng family. What Feng Sanhuang knew, Feng Sanlei also knew. In this kind of situation, it was the most difficult to determine the winner and loser. Even if they couldn't win, staying alive was not a problem. And if Feng Sanlei could fall here, then Su Shihan must have a master beside her. However, since that expert wasn't Feng Sanhuang, the only one left was Lin Yi. Su Shihan and Qing Yi couldn't be that powerful. So when he realized that something was wrong, the man in black immediately warned the man in black. However, he was too slow. The man in black still needed some time to react after hearing his words. At this time, Lin Yi's palm was already pressed on the man's palm. Too late! Lin Yi shouted coldly. With a loud bang, the man in black's body flew out like an arrow. After flying in the air for some distance, he crashed into the wall of the alley not far away. You're not mystic mid-phase peak. You're Earth early phase. This was the last thing the man in black said as he slid down the wall. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood, his vision went black, and he died. Despicable! How dare you trick me! The man in black's eyes were filled with anger. He wanted to burn Lin Yi to death. He didn't think that Lin Yi would use a method to hide his strength and kill one of his people first. Trick me? Lin Yi patted the dust off his hands and curled his lips. He's just too arrogant. Can't you see that? You! The man in black was speechless. He couldn't refute Lin Yi. Indeed, if Lin Yi were to trick him, it was because the man in black was too arrogant. If he had been more careful, he wouldn't have ended up like this. With that thought, the man in black took a deep breath and looked at Lin Yi with hatred. He pointed at Lin Yi and said, I don't care who you are. If you want to get involved in this mess, then don't leave. You and your family will pay the price of blood for your meddling. What did you say? Lin Yi frowned. A hint of hatred flashed across his eyes. This person dared to use his family to threaten him. This made Lin Yi's heart surge with rage. No matter what, he had to make this person stay here. Not for anything else, but for Meng Yao Yushu and all his friends. When you're dead, I'll investigate your identity. I'll visit your friends and family one by one. The man in black smiled sinisterly. This is the consequence of killing my people. If that's the case, then it's either you die or I die. I won't rest until I die. Lin Yi looked at the man in black coldly, but his heart was filled with caution. This man was too evil. If Lin Yi didn't make him stay here, then what awaited him would be unbearable revenge. I won't rest until I die. You think you're worthy? The man in black said as his chi surged out of his body. His Earth-class mid-phase strength was on full display. We don't know who's going to die yet. It's too early for you to say that. Lin Yi took a deep breath and started channeling his practitioner's arts, showing off his Earth-class early phase strength. But early phase was still early phase, it wasn't the peak. Compared to the man in black, there was still a difference of 2 levels. The Earth-class black-clothed man looked at Lin Yi and Feng Sanhuang, deep in thought. Try Wang, take Xiaohan and the others and hide behind. Lin Yi could guess what the man in black was thinking. He moved his feet slightly and quietly stood in front of the man's attack. Just now, Lin Yi had ambushed one of the mystic black-clothed men, and he must have incurred the wrath of this Earth-class black-clothed man. So, he probably had the idea of getting rid of Feng Sanhuang first. This way, Su Shihan would have no one to protect her, and he could take advantage of the chaos to get rid of Su Shihan. After that, the mission would be completed. Book Ocean Pavilion. It was no longer a problem for him to fight to the death. But since Lin Yi saw through his thoughts, naturally, he wouldn't let it happen. That's fine. Feng Sanhuang didn't want to be a deserter, but he knew that the difference in strength between him and his opponent was too big. Staying here was equivalent to being a hindrance to Lin Yi, and Lin Yi had to split his attention to take care of him and Su Shihan. There was no way he could win. So Feng Sanhuang only hesitated for a moment before quickly pulling Su Shihan and Qingyi to a place far behind Lin Yi. Humph! The man in black was a bit annoyed that Lin Yi saw through his thoughts. Book Ocean Pavilion, target equals, _blank. Chapter 1986. Book C Pavilion. But from his point of view, it wasn't a big deal. If he couldn't sneak attack, then so be it. If he could take care of Lin Yi first, then wouldn't Feng Sanhuang and Su Shihan be in the bag? The earth-ranked black-robed man took a step forward and waved his left hand in the air, forming a layer of green mist around his left arm. The mist exuded a dense chill. It looked like he was cultivating some kind of water-type mental cultivation method, and it was paired with a snow-type martial skill. Water element, snow element. Looking at the man in black, Lin Yi's eyes flashed with a trace of confusion. In his memory, he seemed to know someone who also practiced this water element technique, and it was related to the snow element technique. But as for who it was, Lin Yi couldn't remember at all. At the moment when Lin Yi was lost, the man in black had already activated his technique. Lin Yi's eyes blurred for a second, and then he saw the man in black rushing towards him. The green mist on his left fist was even clearer, and there were even specks of starlight on it. It should be the result of the crystallization of the mist. Ice Snow Thorn! With a roar from the man in black, the green mist on his left fist suddenly broke out of his body and turned into a light green sharp blade. With an incomparably fast speed, it stabbed towards Lin Yi's chest. Lin Yi was shocked and quickly returned to reality. If it wasn't for the jade's warning signal that suddenly became extremely strong, causing Lin Yi to subconsciously dodge, that light green ice blade would definitely hit Lin Yi's chest. Even if it didn't pierce through Lin Yi's heart, Lin Yi would still be heavily injured. It was also because of Lin Yi's subconscious dodge that the ice blade was dodged, but it still touched Lin Yi's arm and cut through Lin Yi's clothes, leaving a long wound on Lin Yi's arm. Ah! Su Shihan screamed. She didn't expect this person to be so powerful. He could shoot out ice blades with his bare hands. To her, this was unimaginable. It was like a stunt from a TV show. Miss Su, please don't disturb Brother Lin. At this moment, it's taboo to be distracted. Feng Sanhuang frowned as he reminded Lin Yi in a low voice. Even though he was not too optimistic about Lin Yi's chances, his opponent was too strong, and his martial technique was so ferocious. Feng Sanhuang thought that even if it was an expert of the same level, the chances of victory would not be too high. Not to mention Lin Yi, who was 2 levels lower than him. Okay. Shihan nodded seriously. What do we do? How can we help him? We can only wait. Feng Sanhuang wanted to tell them to run if the situation wasn't right, but he couldn't bring himself to say it. That's right, Sister Han. I think that since Lin Yi has risked his life for us, we can't run away by ourselves. That would be too disloyal. Qingyi was a very loyal person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to come to the freshman party because of Boss Shang's request. And Shihan nodded. She also felt that it wasn't a good time to run away by herself. After dodging the fierce attack, Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. A serious look appeared on his face. The opponent's martial technique had reached a state where he could control it freely. Although Lin Yi could do the same, Lin Yi's martial technique was a fire element. Water and fire countered each other. It was hard to tell who would be the winner. If the opponent was a practitioner of other martial techniques, Lin Yi's chances of winning would be higher. But it just so happened that the opponent could counter his martial technique. This made Lin Yi a little depressed. This was the first time he faced such a high-level opponent, and it was an opponent that countered his martial technique. You have some skills? But this is only the first form. The Earth-class black-clothed man sneered. An icy mist condensed on his left fist again. This time, it looked even fiercer and more majestic than before. Just like what he said, what he used before was only the first form of his martial technique. There should be more to come. And now that he was an Earth-class mid-stage master, he should be able to use at least 3 forms of martial technique. He might even be able to use the 4th form. Linny took a deep breath. He didn't dare to be careless. He could see that this was the 2nd form of the Earth-class black-clothed man's move. Because of the bone-chilling cold, Linny was still fine. But Shirhan and the others behind Linny felt like they had fallen into an ice cellar. They couldn't help but shiver. So Linny didn't even think about it. He directly used the 2nd form of Frenzy Fist. In an instant, Lin Yi's fist was also wrapped in a ball of red flame. The high temperature made the cold autumn day feel warm. Shirhan and the others behind Lin Yi felt like they were standing next to a bonfire. Fire element martial technique? If I'm not wrong, this shouldn't be the 1st form. Could it be the 3rd form? The Earth-class black-clothed man looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be a fire element martial technique practitioner. Book Ocean Pavilion is a practitioner, and he's able to unleash the 3rd form of his martial art at the early phase of Earth class. According to the normal training progress, one would normally be able to use the 3rd form when they were about to break through to the mid-stage of Earth class. So far, he had only mastered 4 forms. That was because he was an Earth class mid-stage master and had been famous for a long time. That was why he could use the 4th form. Even so, he was still considered a genius among his peers, but Lin Yi. Could it be that this guy was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Could it be that the early stage of Earth class wasn't his real strength? Thinking up to here, the Earth class black-clothed man's eyes sharpened. He planned to exchange moves with Lin Yi and test out Lin Yi's strength. Of course, a battle between Earth class masters didn't have as many concerns as a mystic class. In a battle between Earth class masters, martial techniques were the most important. He estimated that Lin Yi's Frenzy Fist should belong to the 3rd form. So he instantly changed his Freezing Snow Pierce into the 3rd form, planning to fight it head-on. The Frigid Snow Thorn was actually one of the more superior martial skills. Among the martial skills collected by the ancient Feng clan, it could be ranked among the top. Therefore, he was confident that if he encountered a martial skill of the same level, he would be able to gain the upper hand. So, the black-clothed man's left fist went straight for Lin Yi's right fist. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to explain too much to him. This Earth-class black-clothed man mistakenly thought that his 2nd form was the 3rd form. It seemed that Falbert's Frenzy Fist was indeed extraordinary. His 2nd form should be able to compete with the 3rd form of other martial techniques. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that the Earth-class black-clothed man would change his 2nd form into the 3rd form at the last moment, and it was too late for Lin Yi to change it. The 2 fists collided with a loud bang. The black-clothed man quickly took a few steps back, but Lin Yi's body was sent flying. Book Ocean Pavilion, target equals, _blank. Chapter 1987. Book C Pavilion. Lin Yi's body landed heavily on the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. It looked like Lin Yi was badly injured, but in reality, Lin Yi didn't suffer any serious injuries. He just borrowed the strength of the man's skill to fly out, and didn't take it head-on. The Earth-class black-clothed man, on the other hand, didn't seem to have taken a few steps back, but he wasn't much better off than Lin Yi. His internal organs were shaken up as well. He hurriedly circulated his mental cultivation method without batting an eyelid, and only then did he quickly calm down. At this moment, Lin Yi also saw that although the Frenzy Fist was strong, and each style was a level higher than the other skills of the same level, if he used the 2nd style to fight against the 3rd style of the opponent, he would still be at a disadvantage. Especially when he was weaker than the opponent, and his chi wasn't as strong as the opponent, even if he used the same level skills, it would still be affected. Lin Yi quickly channeled the art of dragon mastery to heal his injuries while the man didn't move. He could also see that the opponent was also healing, but Lin Yi didn't choose to continue attacking at this time. If the two were to fight head-on, then the one at a disadvantage would still be Lin Yi because Lin Yi's strength wasn't as strong as the opponent, so this kind of fighting style gave Lin Yi an advantage. The art of dragon mastery could heal injuries infinitely, but the opponent was only calming his injuries, and couldn't recover in a short period of time. This time, Su Shihan didn't dare to disturb Lin Yi, so she covered her mouth with her hand, but she was worried for Lin Yi. Again! After Lin Yi healed his injuries, he didn't give the opponent a chance to rest anymore. He used the third style of the frenzy fist, and rushed towards the man like lightning. The place where his fist passed through formed a long fire dragon, and the air resistance formed a long howl. Die! The man didn't think that Lin Yi would dare to fight head-on, and he couldn't believe it. Because through the head-on collision, he had already figured out Lin Yi's strength. Although Lin Yi's skills were overbearing, and he didn't know how he practiced it to the third style, his internal strength was definitely only at the early stage of the Earth class. Although he was stronger than the normal early stage of the Earth class, he should be breaking through soon, but he definitely wasn't at the peak of the early stage of the Earth class. From the result of the collision, it could be seen that Lin Yi's strength was obviously weaker than the Earth class black-clothed man, because the black-clothed man didn't even take a few steps back, but Lin Yi, on the other hand, was sent flying. This was a completely different level of strength. And to fight head-on in this situation, wasn't it the same as looking for death? Although he wouldn't die in one hit, a few more hits would probably kill him, so the man was very confused. What was this Lin Yi thinking? In fact, it wasn't that Lin Yi was looking for death, but because Lin Yi had no other way. The only thing Lin Yi could rely on was his advantage of being able to heal quickly. If he could use his martial skills to continuously clash with the man, and have enough time for Lin Yi to recover, then Lin Yi was confident that he could make the man stay. But whether or not it would be like Lin Yi wanted was unclear. The fourth style? How is that possible? How could it be the fourth style? The man wanted to use the third style again to fight against Lin Yi, but found that Lin Yi actually used the fourth style. It should be known that the consumption of true qi for each style increased exponentially. Under normal circumstances, under the circumstances that the level wasn't very high, using the most powerful style would consume a lot of true qi in the body. For example, if the man was a mid-earth class master, he could only use the fourth style 10 times or so before he would be exhausted. As for an early earth class master like Lin Yi, it would be good if he could use the second style 10 times, let alone the third or fourth style. Therefore, with regards to Lin Yi's fourth style, the man was very surprised. He didn't know what Lin Yi was going to do, but one thing was for sure, Lin Yi wanted to fight head-on. The earth-class black-clothed man felt a wave of depression. He also changed the third style to the fourth style, and used it against Lin Yi. He actually didn't want to waste time on Lin Yi. His target was Su Shihan. The words he said before were to threaten Lin Yi and make Lin Yi say some soft words and leave, but he didn't expect it to have the opposite effect. This guy didn't care about his life at all. Pun! Lin Yi looked at the ice mist on the man's left hand that suddenly became even sharper. Lin Yi's heart slightly shivered, but he still clenched his teeth and faced it head-on. Facing an Earth-class master who was a higher level than him, Lin Yi didn't have the slightest confidence in winning. If it was just one level higher, Lin Yi could see that he could use Frenzy Fist to defeat him. If the Earth-class black-clothed man didn't practice his fourth form, then Lin Yi could totally use the third form, Frenzy Fist, to defeat him, because the third form, Frenzy Fist, was infinitely close to other people's fourth form. But this Earth-class black-clothed man was 2 levels higher than Lin Yi, and he practiced the fourth form, Cold Snow Pierce. Lin Yi could barely fight him to a draw, and it was very difficult. When he was in the Mystic class, the feeling of killing his opponent in a second was almost non-existent. This made Lin Yi very unhappy and depressed. The feeling of going from the strongest under Earth class to the weakest under Heaven class made Lin Yi want to vomit blood. The flames of the fiery fist clashed with the ice mist of the icy snow spike, forming a huge energy collision. Lin Yi's body flew back once more, but of course, the Earth-class black-clothed man wasn't having it easy either. After all, the third style that Lin Yi used was infinitely close to his fourth style. This kind of head-on collision, Lin Yi already suffered internal injuries. How could he have it easy? Book Ocean Pavilion. His internal organs had changed positions, causing him to vomit a mouthful of black blood. It was obvious that he had suffered the same serious internal injuries as Lin Yi. The man in black was so angry that he wanted to curse. It was obvious that Lin Yi's strength was much weaker than his, but he could still use the fourth style of martial arts. This kind of head-on collision was a method of mutual destruction. In the end, whoever had the stronger Jin Qi would have the advantage. It was completely at the cost of one's own injury in exchange for the other's death. Lin Yi naturally didn't have it easy either. This move brought much more damage than the previous one. Lin Yi continuously vomited 4 or 5 mouthfuls of blood, and his face became very pale. Book Ocean Pavilion, target equals, _blank. Chapter 1988. Book C Pavilion Chapter 2000. The gap was huge, but as soon as Lin Yi landed, he didn't waste any time and quickly entered the jade space to heal and replenish his energy. As for the man in black, he didn't dare to attack Lin Yi. He had to adjust his breathing first. He was afraid that Lin Yi would counterattack him if he tried to attack Lin Yi. So since Lin Yi was adjusting his breathing, he also took the opportunity to adjust his breathing. At this time, both sides had a tacit understanding to not attack each other. This was because the qi in their bodies wasn't flowing smoothly. They also knew that if they attacked each other now, they would both die. So no one did anything stupid. After a few moments of adjustment, the man in black let out a long breath and sneered at Lin Yi. "What? Brat, you just barely managed to activate the fourth move of the martial skill. Are you unable to stand up? You've lost a lot of qi and become a soft-footed shrimp? Haha, then I won't be polite. You can go die now." Lin Yi didn't want to waste any time. Even if he could heal and replenish his qi in the jade space, it wouldn't make up for the loss of his qi. His internal injuries could only be healed by half. So Lin Yi waited for the man in black to finish his sarcastic words before reluctantly returning to reality. He stood up lazily and looked at the man in black. "Oh, I've actually recovered a long time ago. I just sat on the ground for a while. I thought you wouldn't make it this time. So you're not dead yet? Then let's go again." As Lin Yi said this, he continued to use the third move, Frenzy Fist. The man in black had just finished adjusting his breathing and hadn't thought about what to do next when he saw Lin Yi using the fourth move again. He almost died. He thought to himself. "You don't want to live anymore? You've suffered such serious internal injuries in the previous head-on clash, and you still want to fight head-on? Can't you just exchange a few moves before using the martial skill? Even if you don't mind the lack of Jinqi, I do." However, thinking about it was just thinking about it. Lin Yi's fist had already arrived. The Earth-stage black-clothed man could only grit his teeth and receive it. Otherwise, he would probably be crippled by Lin Yi. Even a mystic mid-phase peak master wouldn't dare stand there and let the opponent hit him. That would definitely cripple him. Bang! Another violent collision resounded, and the two men's bodies were once again blasted apart by the huge amount of true qi. Lin Yi was once again sent flying, and this time, the Earth-ranked man in black was in a much worse state than the previous 2 times. His internal injuries had not yet recovered, so when he collided head-on with Lin Yi, he didn't just take a few steps back. Instead, he took a few steps back, all the way to the corner of the wall behind him. Only then did he manage to hold onto the wall and stabilize himself. But this time, he spat out 2 mouthfuls of black blood. Naturally, Lin Yi wasn't much better. It was also more serious than the last time. He was still sent flying, landed on the ground, and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Then, he quickly entered the jade space to heal and replenish his strength. However, the physical strength and injuries consumed every time he used the martial skill couldn't be replenished in a short period of time. So, Lin Yi could only replenish a small portion each time. Every time, he would waste a large portion. This reminded Lin Yi of the battle with Right 13. That time, Lin Yi used this kind of tenacious willpower to compete with Right 13. But at that time, Right 13's martial skill was obviously not on the same level as this Earth-ranked man in black. In fact, it could be said that the difference was like heaven and earth. Now Lin Yi could roughly guess that this person in front of him wasn't from an ancient sect. Book C Pavilion. The sect was an ancient family, otherwise, it would be impossible to have such a powerful martial skill. And it was also impossible for him to master the fourth martial skill at the mid-phase of the Earth-ranked. All signs indicated that if this person wasn't a genius, then he came from a wealthy family. Even hidden families would be left in the dust. Kid, you can't do it this time, can you? This time, the Earth-ranked man in black didn't get up so quickly to mock Lin Yi. Instead, he adjusted his breathing for a long time. Seeing that Lin Yi was still sitting on the ground, he mocked him. After a while, Lin Yi stretched and said lightly, "I was about to fall asleep, and you only finished adjusting your breathing. You're really slow. I thought you were dead." Bull*T. The Earth-ranked man in black said angrily. "You have more Bull*T than me. Stop pretending. You want to scare me away by pretending to be calm? That's just wishful thinking. Do you think I don't know that you're talking nonsense? If you had nothing better to do, why didn't you sneak attack me? Why are you still on the ground? Sneak attacks are so shameless." Lin Yi smiled faintly. "You hid your strength just now to kill one of my people. Isn't that shameless?" The Earth-ranked man in black was already infuriated by Lin Yi. This little bastard only knew how to fight head-on. Fight head-on? Yes, he must have done it on purpose, pretending to be fine to scare me away. How could I let him succeed? In fact, what the Earth-ranked man in black thought was not wrong. Lin Yi's injuries were indeed heavier than his. This could be seen from the distance Lin Yi flew. But Lin Yi had the jade pendant, so he didn't know. "Hiding and sneak attacks are different," Lin Yi said. "Come on, let's continue. See how open I am. Who will sneak attack who?" The Earth-ranked man in black was angry. He was a dignified Middle Earth-ranked master, but he was being bullied by Lin Yi. But Lin Yi's bully was really effective. The pride of a Middle Earth-ranked master was not ordinary, especially when facing a weakling like Lin Yi. So the Earth-ranked man in black said, "What's there to be afraid of? Come on!" And so, Lin Yi's raging flame fist's third form once again met the Earth-ranked man's fourth form. After another loud bang, the two were once again bounced apart. 5 times, this was the 5th time the two had clashed head-on. Lin Yi felt that his physical strength was getting weaker, and his injuries were getting worse. It had already begun to affect his normal martial arts. Lin Yi glanced at the Earth-ranked man in black. Although the opponent was also seriously injured, and his physical strength was also declining, the opponent was still a Middle Earth-ranked master. Compared to Lin Yi, the difference was too big, so Lin Yi couldn't guarantee that he could exhaust the opponent to death. And now, Lin Yi also discovered that the Earth-ranked Middle Earth-ranked master in front of him and Right 13's Middle Earth-ranked master were two completely different concepts. Previously, Lin Yi could exhaust Right 13 to the point that he ran away in fear, but the Earth-ranked man in black in front of him definitely wouldn't. Not to mention that his martial arts were many times better than Right 13's. Even Right 13 could only use 2 martial arts at that time, which was incomparable to the Earth-ranked man in black in front of him. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. This definitely couldn't go on like this, and Lin Yi couldn't retreat. Not to mention whether Su Shihan would be in danger if he retreated. It was just that the Earth-ranked man in black said that he would take revenge on the people around Lin Yi. Lin Yi couldn't let him go so easily. Book C Pavilion, target equals, _blank. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.